Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. England against Australia at the start of the Autumn Nations Series, a month where the best of the North takes on the best of the South. And we're going to have it all the way here on Radio 5 Sports Extra, across 5 Live, BBC Sport, BBC Sounds, and you will not miss a thing with us. But welcome to Twickenham. What are we, about 25 minutes away from kick-off? England against the Wallabies for the Ella Mobbs Trophy, which was won in spectacular fashion by the Wallabies this time last year. Since then, we've seen the Australians in action in a losing cause against the British and Irish Lions, but they played plenty of test matches this year. For England, it's 7 wins in a row. Can they continue that momentum this afternoon and over the coming few weekends? The players are warming up. Australia going through their scrum drills to our right. England under the watchful eye of their head coach Steve Borthwick, just working on their attack. It's been a beautifully sunny day in southwest London, given way to a bit of rain and some grey clouds, and a beautiful rainbow now is over the top of the stadium, which is filling up as we speak, with 82,000 expected for what should be a compelling encounter, which we witnessed by a couple of men who know all about England against Australia fixtures, who've experienced the highs and lows of this great rivalry. Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton. Matt, a World Cup winner against the Wallabies in Sydney in 2003, and Chris responsible for one of the greatest tries in English rugby history, Ashley. How do you feel about that?
I'm so happy to see you, Christoph. That's the main thing here.
I've had a few months off on paternity leave. I've been reminded weekly by Chris Ashton that I needed to get back to work, but good to see you again, Ashley. Good to see you again, Matt. I'm just going to give you your props, because I just bolted into my head that image of you running in from halfway against Australia.
Halfway? Is that all you're giving me?
Well, you halfway and the rest.
Taking at least 40 metres off me.
Okay, running in from 90 metres.
Yeah, it was a great day. Turns out it was one of the most important moments in my career. It was a very young team we had for England, and there was a big group of us that were pretty much playing our first games at Twickenham. So to beat Australia at home and to score a try the way it did, yeah, it's a very, very memorable day for me.
Afternoon, Matt Dawson.
Yeah, afternoon, fellas.
I was actually listening to the commentary on it, and you did the commentary for it.
And I called it at that time that potentially is the greatest individual try at Twickenham ever. And it was probably, I don't know, you probably got it just short of the 22, I would say. And then really it was just a straight run in, wasn't it? I mean, there wasn't a lot to do.
Beat one man, was it?
There was maybe you might have been one man a few times, but the pace and I think what separates those types of tries, and they don't come along very often, where 82,000 people sort of know it's coming, and it was that sort of that steady. I mean, how long would it have taken you? Maybe 8 seconds, 7 seconds by the time you'd sort of weaved and stepped off his right, then accelerated past out of Drew Mitchell, I think it was at the time. The crowd have got excited that England are attacking from their own line, but then they've got that 7 or 8 seconds of sort of rush and an adrenaline that you must have felt on the pitch, from making a break to then, I know you've still got a lot of work to do, but that feeling, there's not many people in the world that has ever experienced that.
No, I'm very lucky for it. I almost thought that happens every week, though. That was part of the problem. I thought that was normal. When you get that kind of try early on in your career, you think, okay, this is easy, it happens every week, but turns out it doesn't.
Well, what a moment it was, and what a fixture this is, England against Australia, that often throws up iconic moments, not least that try right at the end last year, Matt, from Max Jorgensen, which just helped to, I suppose, turn the tide in Wallaby rugby that had been in a really tough place. They were 1 out of 6 in the rugby champ. They win at Twickenham. Yes, they didn't beat the Lions. Yes, their rugby championship wasn't spectacular this time round, but they're certainly a team you feel are just nudging forward inch by inch.
Well, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's that type of ebb and flow this afternoon, Chris. It was England went up, Australia came back, England got ahead again, Australia with a finish, and everybody in the stadium had pretty much thought that England had got themselves out of a bit of a hole. You know, an exciting game, and they played pretty well in part. to then, that one moment from Australia to finish it, it was as if someone just turned the noise off. And there was that deathly hush of, oh, what have England just done there? You don't lose that game. But I think England are a slightly different proposition this time round.
Yes, let's talk about that, guys, because this time last year, England came off the back of a positive, if fruitless, tour of New Zealand. Then they lost 3 of their 4 autumn games, had to pick themselves back up for the Six Nations, and after losing in Dublin, won 4 in a row, 3 on the summer tour. England are 7 on the spin now, Ashley. They're probably in the best place they've been under Steve Borthwick. Keeping that momentum going today and over the next 4 weekends is massive.
It's funny because if we went back to some of those early wins, you'd probably find people that were still having a go and having a dig about how they won it and how they went about those games. But as time goes on, and with continued wins and breaks in between, people forget and they go, oh, 7 in a row. It doesn't matter anymore. And they get another win today. It's amazing how things can quickly turn when there's been breaks and periods in between where you've been able to develop a little bit more. But I think the summer tour was really outstanding. Went under the radar, really, with everything that was going on with the Lions and everything. England went to Argentina and convincingly beat a really good Argentina team.
So it's fascinating now, Matt Dawson, to look at the England selection and to look at the England game plan. There have been coaching changes, which we didn't mention on 5 Live earlier with Steve Crossman, that so impressed was Steve Borthwick by the coaches he brought in for the Argentina tour, Lee Blackett, particularly to now come and run the attack, with Brian McGuigan too on the defensive side of things. They're now on the staff. So that Argentina tour's had a big impact off the field, and on it, England now have to sort of combine what they did in the Six Nations, what they did in the autumn, in the summer, bring back the Lions players and sort of get it all together.
Right, England are not short of coaches, are they? I mean, there's 7 coaches out there at the moment in their
They might have been before, though. I think they were understaffed before.
I listen, if it's working, I don't care how many coaches you've got. If you're finding the balance, some teams might need less, some teams may need more. But there is obviously some chemistry between what particularly Blackett is doing with the attacking part of England's game with the players. And I think it's fair to say that has been maybe missing with this England side. And I know Richard Wigglesworth was there as part of the attack, but it just hasn't been clicking, and Steve Borthwick has been very defensive about England's style of play. Let's use the most recent cases of Argentina. They had to battle in defence. They had to battle tactically in a very hostile environment. But when it was time to attack, and that might have been very early on, it looked pretty damn ruthless at times, England. And there were little moments of the way that England were playing that I think's not just new for the last couple of years, it's maybe new for the last 5 or 6.
Yeah, and really interesting on that point, Ashley, and on the England coaches. There's been a fair bit of flux, hasn't there? Not just with coaches coming in and out like Alan Walters and particularly Felix Jones, but Andrew Strawbridge was part-time, now he's full-time. Kevin Sinfield was full-time, now he's part-time. Joe Alab was job sharing with Cass, now he's full-time, but he's not in the same role. Richard Wigglesworth's moved from attack to defence. Do you think he's getting a picture together now, Steve Borthwick, after a couple of years of movement, where the coaching team, there are a fair few of them, as Matt Dawson says, but everyone knows their roles and every area is covered? Because there was a time where, as you hinted, there was no real forwards coach. Steve Borthwick was doing a lot of it himself.
No, and I do think a couple of staff that are here now we see move on pretty quickly, maybe after these next few weeks, or certainly after the Six Nations. I think we'll see a couple of them move on that did come and fill a gap. And now we've seen a more full-time coach put in place instead of them. Maybe we'll see them move on. But yeah, I think Lee Blackett is a coach. He's had really good attacking teams in Wasps, went to Scarlets for a bit, and recently at Bath, where his teams have scored tries. And he's got a really nice way about him with people and players, and how he gets the best out of him. And I was speaking to him on Tuesday about it and just how he goes about that. And especially most recently with Finn Smith, with Finn Russell, at Bath, and how he... It's a hard one because Finn Russell's such a good player. You've got to give him a framework, but you've got to allow him to be himself too. And I think that's the key to being a really good coach, is allowing the player to be themselves within the framework.
I think it's an outstanding appointment, Blackett, because he's comes with such great credentials. The attack he ran at Wasps with, when Danny Cipriani was running amok with Kurtley Beale and Kwan de Jong and Elliot Daly and all those brilliant players, that was a sight to behold. What he's done with Bath, as you say, Ashley, but also, Dorse, it's a sign that Steve Borthwick isn't just wedded to what he knows. There's been a period over the last 2 years where he brought in Joe Alabs, who he knew from before. He brought in Sinfield, Walters, Harrison, Wigglesworth, guys he knew from Leicester or from previously. This is someone he didn't know before, has impressed in the club game, impressed in Argentina. So is that a kind of encouraging sign for you that Steve Borthwick is looking to tap into many different areas? And if it means someone that he doesn't know so well, he's more than happy to bring him on board and get the best out of him.
Yeah, listen, it's always about the results, and I think we have to, we do have to give plenty of credit to Steve Borthwick for understanding what he doesn't know, and that we all of us right here, we do not know everything, and nor does an England coach, and nor does an Australian coach. But those individuals who are maintaining a little bit more open-mindedness and embracing some of the other skills that other coaches have that they might not know them as well as others, as Wigglesworth or Alab that have come in. I absolutely applaud that, and it's quite refreshing to a degree to how many times we see coaches stick to their guns and stick to their team, and across all sports, not just in rugby. I think it's benefiting England. All of a sudden, it feels to me Steve Borthwick's being a little bit more. Hold on a minute, maybe we're not going in the direction that potentially will win us a World Cup. What could change? Let's try Lee Blackett, Argentina. It's gone well. Right, let's get him in. It's fairly pragmatic, but it's a method that should work.
Which is fine, but today's arguably one of the hardest of tests that they've had since they played them last year.
True.
So it's all based on the next few weeks, and if it is, we have seen real progression. Let's hope we have, because if we don't see that, then it quickly can turn, can't it? And the coaches and how that dynamic works and all that, you've got to hope for results and wins to make sure that keeps moving in the right direction.
I mean, Ashley's right, because there is a very different pressure on this game to being in the hotbed of Buenos Aires or Mendoza or wherever those fixtures were played in Argentina. You're away from home, it's backs against the wall, hunker down, low expectation. Everyone now is expecting England. I mean, look at the bookies, they're 11-4 favourites. They were yesterday. They're looking for England to be winning this by double-digit points. That brings a pressure to the team and sometimes makes you be a little bit guarded in the way that you play, whereas actually we want to see that sort of backs against the wall as if they're in Argentina, and go and impress us, boys. Let's see what you've got.
Actually, I was staggered by England being quite considerable favourites with the bookies. Probably should be favourites, they're at home, but these games at the front of an autumn are so hard to read. I remember going and doing New Zealand, Ireland in Dublin last year, thinking that was maybe Ireland's to lose at home, and they never got going whatsoever. When you've not been together for a while, and England haven't had that extra week in training camp they normally have before an autumn, they gave that back to the clubs in exchange for playing a fourth international. You couple that with the fact that the Aussies have played 11 fixtures this year in a block, surely got to be a little bit tighter to call than maybe the pre-match predictions.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to throw in it. There's, as we spoke about the Argentina tour, there's the England lads that went to the Lions and did really well. Australia, probably not so much towards the end, got going, but not really in comparison. So I think there's those pieces that have come together. There's a lot going. We're at home. Australia don't have arguably the best four players to available to play that would be part of the starting team for sure, because it's outside the test window. So that's an impact to them. Had those players been available and playing, on paper, I think it's a closer match than what it is right now.
But what I do think, and you're right to highlight the likes of Skelton and Tom Hooper and Len Ikita who aren't playing, but they've still got power. That Brisbane game, remember the first test of the Lions, we worked together after that game and we lamented how meek the Aussies were. They were short of firepower, but now with Taniela Tupou, Rob Valetini, Lukan Salako-Lotto on the bench, Hunter Basabi, just feels they've got a bit of stopping power in the Aussie side. And if there's one area where you look at the England pack and go, oh, are they light a body or two? There's loads of pace, there's loads of skill, there's loads of craft. Are England just a ball carrier or a stopper short in their forward pack? And I think there are a few on the Aussie side.
Well, they found a way to get round that in Argentina with scoring good tries from out wide, which you haven't really seen a lot of from England. They scored some really good quality attacking tries. So Steve's gone for a more of a dynamic back row with the Currys not being up to fitness level, so they've gone dynamic in the back row. Yes, that might mean we lose some bulk, but hopefully we get some speed in other areas. Yeah, the Australia one, it's all sounds well and they have got great players, but the 9 and 10 haven't played together much. He's a young fly half. As we saw against the Lions with Liner, Tom Liner, he wasn't able to get them functioning. So will Taine, the young fly half today for Australia, be able to do that too? It's going to be question marks in the first 20 minutes.
OK, we've got anthems to come. There's going to be a bit of a moment for George Ford, who's going to mark his 100th cap, which he won in Argentina before the anthems. And the match ball is going to be presented by the former England captain, Lewis Moody, who so sadly was diagnosed with motor neurone disease. That was announced last month, so he will present the match ball, and I know we'll have the best wishes of all 82,000 and millions more around the rugby community. So let's rattle through the two teams now before that happens. England have Finn Baxter, Jamie George and Joe Hayes. Interesting how they've sort of switched the front rows, England, with Luke Cowan, Dickie Ellis-Genge and Will Stewart. Normally the starting front row, they're on the bench, and Baxter, George and Hayes are from the off. Maro Itoje, he equals Matt Dawson, Martin Johnson's record of 82 starts in the second row, his 94th cap. The man just keeps going, does Itoje, fresh off captaining the Lions to a series win down under. Ollie Chesham alongside him in the second row. Guy Peppers at 6, who came through on the tour of Argentina. Sam Underhill, a stalwart in the back row, he wears 7, and Ben Earl, fresh from his Lions exploits, is at number 8. Alex Mitchell, number 9, another Lion, is at number 9 alongside the newly anointed Centurion George Ford. Fraser Dingwall and Tommy Freeman in the midfield. Tom Roebuck, Emmanuel Feiwa-Boso and Freddie Stewart the back 3. So guys, both of you, a word on that England team and what jumps out for you?
Well, as a team, as a squad, I'm very excited by this. I love the continuity and from the summer. But there are some standout players that I just think, and all of these things are very, very personal, but I feel are quality international players now, or really do have the potential to be going over the next couple of years. Tom Roebuck for me, you know, Chris Ashton, let's talk about the wingers. Tommy Freeman, obviously, and Feiwa-Boso. Those three in the back line, I just feel if a few things go their way, they could establish themselves as players for the next 2 years, actually, that really are threatening to dominate world rugby.
Tom Roebuck is an interesting one because he hasn't ripped the Premiership to pieces to be here. He's kind of, which is not a bad way of doing it, he's steadily gone about his business for England, and whenever he's had an opportunity, he just looks really comfortable at this level. A bit like Underhill. Sam Underhill, when he plays for England, you know what you're going to get. Tom Roebuck's starting to be that player too. So I'm sure he'll have another good game today.
Well, we mentioned George Ford winning his 100th cap in Argentina. Out he comes with his little girl. What a moment this is for Ford and his family. And now the two teams follow Ford. What a servant he's been to English rugby. Plenty of life left in George Ford at just 32. Here come the Wallabies. And then behind them, Maro Itoje leads out England. The Wallabies in their gold line up to our right. as the fireworks go off into the blue Twickenham sky. The clouds have cleared just in time. Let's do the Wallaby team before the anthems. Angus Bell, Billy Pollard and Taniela Tupou, the front row. There's some real quality in that unit. Nick Frost, he's an excellent player in the second row with Jeremy Williams. Rob Valentini only played 40 minutes on the Lions tour, but what a 40 it was at the MCG. Fraser McCreight and Harry Wilson make up a really combative back row. Jake Gordon and Tain Edmed are the halfbacks. Hunter Paisami, Joseph Akuso Swali'i, who burst onto the scene here a year ago, they're in the midfield. And then Harry Potter, Max Jorgensen, the match winner last November, and Andrew Kellaway make up the back three. We will do the two benches after the national anthems. God Save the King on the way, but first, the Aussie national anthem, Advance Australia Fair. Little pockets of green and gold around this great stadium, singing along to the Australian national anthem. We are just under 4 minutes away now. Here's God Save the King. Great noise round Twickenham as Maro Itoje and vice-captain Ellis Genge embrace after the anthem. The England bench, by the way, Luke Cowan-Dickie, that man Genge, and Will Stewart the front row, Alex Coles, Tom Curry, Henry Pollock, some flyers in the back row, and Ben Spencer and Finn Smith. And Genge just gives a big hug to Lewis Moody. And listen to the applause for the former England skipper, diagnosed with motor neurone disease, and the whole of the rugby and sporting world rallying around the great man who claps to the crowd and receives some well-earned adulation in return. Moody shaking hands, a few of the England players, and Matt Dawson, a word on your old teammate Lewis Moody.
We got a commentary to do, you know, it's very difficult to put into words because he's just such a wonderful man, a great human, and yeah, I mean, he's someone that we're absolutely going to be rallying around as a nation, as a rugby playing people, and yeah, all we can do is wish him all the best over the next period of time.
Well said, Matt. Here we go then. England against Australia at Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. Tain Edmed, the 25-year-old playmaker, preparing to kick off for the Wallabies, just his 6th cap. It's been a problem position for Australia, has number 10. James O'Connor's been doing a job there, but the veteran unavailable as this game falls outside the test match window, so he hasn't been released by Leicester Tigers. The referee, by the way, is Nika Amashikeli, the Georgian, who took charge of the third test in Sydney between Australia and the British and Irish Lions. So well acquainted with many of these players is Amashikeli. James Dolman, Craig Evans and Eric Gozan make up the rest of the officiating team. You'll hear, no doubt, from Eric Gozan over the TMO speaker. Still, we wait for the go-ahead. These moments of tension for the players and for the 82,000 around the ground. Chris Ashton, England preparing to kick off, focus on looking after the ball and going from there.
Yeah, the start's really important for England, just to get themselves in the game, start strong, bring some of your form from your club team or whatever it is from the summer. You just want to have an impact, especially in these games. We've got back-to-back games here for the next 4 weeks. Can't emphasise really enough how much a positive action in your first involvement has got to be the one that is at the forefront of everybody's mind right now.
And still we wait. This is frustrating, no doubt, for the players, Matt. We just want to get going. They've been there for a couple of minutes, and still the referee waits for the go-ahead.
TV adverts are running.
When you see the referee turn round to the players and give them sort of hold up his index finger to say 1 minute, you're like, I mean, talk about taking the sting out of it all.
Well, we're ready to go now as Edmund kicks from right to left. The Wallabies in their gold. Atoje got up, but look who was up there straight away. Joseph Akuso Swali'i, who is unbelievable in the air. We saw it in this fixture a year ago, chasing those kickoffs. He got miles above Atoje, but he knocked it on. So England will have a semblance of an advantage, albeit just a knock-on advantage. So that'll be over quickly as Mitchell clears down the lines, where it's taken in by the Wallabies in the backfield. Helping out Kellaway was Jorgensen, the match winner. As England look to counter-ruck, they may get some joy here. They've certainly slowed up Wallaby ball. Here's the skipper, Harry Wilson, the Queenslander. He sets it up 5 metres or so short of the 10-metre line, 15 in from touch, as Australia play from right to left on Sports Extra, live as we always are at Twickenham, Allianz Stadium, for the big games in the rugby calendar. This is certainly one of them, as Stewart knocks on, and then it kind of hit Hayes. Hayes flirting with giving a penalty away, but the referee Amashikeli clearly deciding it was very accidental. So a few drop balls in the air, and we'll have our first scrum of the game.
I mean, I know it's been a while, isn't it, since I feel that we've sat down here for an international. Does it feel a bit flat with the crowd? And
let's go, fellas.
It feels as if there's, I don't know, whether it's an expectation or maybe everyone's just still in the car park a little.
Yeah,
I don't
there'll
know,
be a bit of that, I think, yeah.
I mean, it's an early-ish kickoff. I know 3 is not hardly the lunchtime kickoff, is it? But sometimes these games are sort of 4, 5 o'clock kind of time, and maybe people are still just getting in from there.
Yeah,
I
there's that
completely hear.
expectation.
I completely hear. But maybe it's so early in November. It literally couldn't be earlier. You feel it's sort of maybe it's caught up on a few a bit quickly, this fixture. But I'm sure a few bits of good play from England will get the fans right into it. But for now, it's Australia with the ball on the 10-metre line in English territory. They set it up through Nick Frost, really coming to his own as a test match lock, the 26-year-old. 0-0 early stages as Australia swing it to the left. And Harry Potter, once of Leicester. That's a clever little kick through. Chris Ashton likes it. Feiwa Boso has to gather. He doesn't want to take it out. Swali'i almost took his head off. You heard the groans from the Twickenham crowd. They certainly felt that one. But set up by Feiwa Boso and then driven on by England and Hayes. Aussie really working hard on the floor to get the penalty, were Australia, but they've given it away. Billy Pollard has been singled out by Nika Amashikeli. Fraser McWright was in there as well. Harry Wilson has a word, because if they got a penalty there, Australia would have been really dangerous. But England have the pen, 5 metres from their own line, a chance to clear their lines.
Kind of irritates me that when a referee stands silently. Nika there just... He can fully see what I know. I don't know. Referees do things differently, but he could have clearly said leave it to Australia, and the guys would have left it. But I'm watching him here. He stood in silence and let the player try and figure out himself, and then give a penalty to England.
Couldn't believe it, Pollard. I think he felt he had a penalty there for all the money, but no. The referee decided the ruck was formed, and Pollard wasn't able to play it. England almost on the halfway line. Jamie George, as ever, on the money with his line out. Mitchell to George Ford, who goes aerially, asking Tom Roebuck to chase, but it's gone a bit far. But also England had 2 of their forwards chasing, so felt like that was slightly off script. England have a penalty here, though, so the kick has certainly worked. as Australia go in at the side, and a chance now, Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton, for England to either take the point off George Ford's going straight for the corner, Matt.
Yeah, Australia just got caught in between, thinking about where they're going to block the runners. Of course they weren't, because they would give a penalty away, and therefore was so slow to get back to Edmed to support him. Poor fella isolated. George Ford's thinking, no, momentum, get in the corner.
England 5 metre line now. Chesham, the British and Irish Lion, he was upended, but Jamie George, that's nice for England. They've moved it, and a couple of decent offloads, and they're only 3 or 4 metres short. Oh, they can walk this into the left, can they? Sam Underhill, though, comes on a line against the grain. 3-4 metres out, England. Fast start from the men in white. Mitchell back to Ford. Ford's going cross-field for Faye Boso. That's going to drop for him. No, it's been knocked out of play by the Exeter winger. Oh, well, he's asking for it to be checked whether the Australian knocked it back deliberately. If he did, that's penalty try territory. But it looks as if the referee was happy. It was a clean knock-on by Faye Boso. England maybe had the numbers to keep the ball in the hand. It was a perfect kick. Oh, I tell you what, that's an interesting one, this. Let's have a look at Chris Ashton and go on, Matt Dawson, Andrew Kellaway.
I mean, Kellaway's done unbelievably well to get back, to get an arm, a hand in the way of that crossfield kick. Faye Boso just ready to swallow it up and score. I'm not sure he sort of slapped the ball out. It was
you can't say it was convincingly.
No, it was more of a straight arm and a straight palm rather than a movement to slap it out.
Oh, Australia get up to spoil, so Jamie George has to tidy up. Not clean ball for England, but it's ball, and they're only 7 or 8 metres out from the Australian try line. 0-0. Opening stages, couple of minutes gone on 5 Sports Extra, BBC Sounds, the BBC Sport website. Listen to our commentary through the website, the live text as well. Our top team bringing you all the action here from Twickenham. England under the crossbar, Mitchell to the left. Big start from Steve Borthwick's men. Good carry, Ben Earl. There for Mitchell. They've got numbers. George Ford, little short ball. Roebuck's there. He couldn't be much closer. A couple of metres at most. Mitchell. Hayes up to the line, Joe Hayes. Is he held up? Advantage being played by the referee. Another penalty. Australia starting to leak them a bit now. And they've gone quickly, England, through Jamie George. That could be another penalty. Australia weren't on the line, were they? The referee will have a look at that. Ollie Chesham now plays a dummy half. He picks and goes. He's up to the line. Twickenham thought he'd got there. Not quite. England looking for the first point of the autumn. They're surely going to get them now. They're over the line, but they might be held up. Referee has a look. It's a goal line dropout. How England didn't come away with points, I do not know.
But there's got to be some massive amount of credit for a defensive set from Australia. I know they gave a couple of penalties away, but they're inches from their own line. And it is hit the beach time to try and stop England. That is phenomenal defence. And Chris Ashton was waving his arms around because, quite rightly, there were a few early opportunities just to go a little one pass wider.
Yeah, they should have done better there, England, without doubt. They should have scored a try. They're on the attack again, but Joe Hayes a bit naive there on the try line to have another push. You've got to know that you're that close as they're getting turned over here, England.
England have got turned over. They ran back the goal line drop off, and then Australia done really well to spoil as England ran it back with some intensity. They're looking to run this. Australia, Kellaway's in from full back, and England are all over that ball. That's scrappy for the Wallabies, but they've got it. They might want to get rid of this now, Australia. No, they're still going. Off they go. And they're up to the 10-metre line through Harry Potter. Almost the halfway line now, England. Ben Earl's over that ball, and they're going to get a penalty. Second man in, Roebuck. Whether it was Earl or Roebuck who made the killer intervention, referee Amateur Kelly happy England were legal. So plenty going on. The upshot is England have the penalty on the halfway line, tight to the touchline, way out of George Ford range. He'll look to drill it down on a tight angle to give England the line out.
It seemed to take Valentini an age to get anywhere near his winger, Harry Potter. He was clearly made the break. Valentini was a good 10, 11 metres behind him. Australia just still seem like they're a little bit on the bus at the moment.
Just with England getting into some really good positions, but just need to get the balance right of the physicality, the hard yards, to then all of a sudden just switch it and move the play away from where Australia think it's going to go. Just get the balance better.
Nice line-out ball. Ollie Chesham, Alex Mitchell, George Ford, Fraser Dingwall brings in Northampton clubmate Tommy Freeman, who's wearing 13, and he's turned over. England go in at the side to support Freeman. And Australia pats on the back from the visitors. They've snuffed out that England attack. It was very slick line-out ball from England. 12-13 in the middle of the park, and then they get their ruck slightly wrong. And Edmed will gleefully boot it up towards halfway, and Australia might get a bit of territory and possession for the first time in the opening 9 minutes or so.
I think you'll find from our referee there, that is just a warning shot to Steve Borthwick to say, don't give me earache about Australia coming in the side, as he did during the week, saying how illegal they were. The first opportunity, he's just set his stall out a bit there for both sides, but he's deliberately picked England to say, yeah, I'm on it, don't you worry.
Yeah, same for both sides, as Australia's line-out slightly falters, but Jake Gordon peels away and does well, the number 9. Here is Ballatini, always
hands on the ground.
Manages to bump the gain line, doesn't he? The big flanker, Rob Ballatini. Some big collisions going in around halfway. Swali was involved, and
It's great defence.
Guy Pepper's in there trying to assert himself on the game, but there for Gordon. To the left they come. Angus Bell just tips it onto Tupou, trying to pump those giant legs of his. Halfway line, Australia going through the motions without a huge amount of threat, but it's solid enough stuff from Australia as Gordon pops it into the box. Tester for Stewart is up against Potter, a Leicester man on former Leicester man. It's back on the Australian side, but it ended up in the hands of Guy Pepper. So Freddie Stewart, for all his excellence in the air, has knocked a couple on, and it's going to be a scrum rather to Australia. Slap, bang, in centre field. It's a beautiful attacking position for the Wallabies.
Okay, knocked on by White.
Yeah, not ideal from Freddie Stewart, especially when that's your strength. And I don't think he's touched the ball other than go up for 2 kicks, really, and try and catch them. He's been... Both Australian wingers have beaten to the ball both times. It's easy when you're attacking... I say easy, it's easier because all you have to do is throw an arm at it, really, whereas Freddie's got to get up and get under it and completely commit to it, whereas if you're an attacking winger, you just throw one arm up and hope for the best, and it causes chaos 9 times out of 10.
Your man Guy Pepper's made quite an impact, hasn't he? Just round the fringes, couple of carries. Maybe I'm noticing with his bobbing locks of hair, but he looks solid, he looks powerful, he looks like he's got that little bit of Underhill about him in defence.
Well, remember, he almost scored that amazing try in the Prem final, didn't he, down the left? Another knock on, the ball's loose, it's in the hands of Itoje, so Australia will rue what was a good attacking platform. Centre field 22, back in English possession. Dingwall moves it. Tommy Freeman, out it goes to Stewart. Now Faye Weboso's got the ball on halfway, over near the left touchline. Oh,
it was knocked on by England.
Yeah, it was knocked on by England. It was one of those where it was knocked on by the side of the scrum, and normally that's a defensive hand going in. So basically, Australia going to get that scrum all over again, are they? Unless it's going to be a penalty.
Backwards a couple of metres, Nico.
The scrum, yeah.
Yeah, it's a scrum, yeah. So it wasn't deliberate, just a knock-on. Scrum, Australia, again, centre field round the 22.
Looked under pressure, though, the Australian scrum. I mean, England looked very well set. Australia thinking about the back row move. Gordon, the scrum half, getting into a position in the short side, thinking they're going to do something fancy. Don't forget about your basics, because you have not got a chance of doing any kind of back row activity when you're on the retreat.
First rendition of Swing Low Sweet Chariot, 12.5 minutes in. England's Autumn Nation Series underway here at the home of English rugby. Fiji, New Zealand and Argentina lie in wait. How much Steve Borthwick would give for 4 wins to continue this good run England are on. 7 in a row. But the Wallabies will provide a stern test this afternoon as they work a little midfield move, bringing Harry Potter in. Industrious carry from Potter. Here's Ballatini, almost man-marked by Itoje, but he's busting over the gain line again. Now Fraser McWright, the Queensland Red scrapper. He's 10 metres out or so. Australia with their best passage of the opening quarter. There for Pollard, who drives on. To the right they go. in between the 22 and England's try line, looking for the first points of this test match. Taniela Tupou again drives on his 66th appearance for his country, the massive tight head. Gordon spins it back to Edmed. He works a little move out the back of Paisami. Potter intercepted by Roebuck to the cheers of Twickenham. And now Fraser Dingle, he's got a kick ahead, surely. He does. He only had Sam Underhill alongside him, which maybe affected his decision-making slightly. And Australia, having only been 10, 12 metres out, are now back on halfway. Ballatini is completely static when he took that. Still manages to cross the gain line. He's a ridiculous athlete, is Rob Ballatini, twice a winner of Australia's Player of the Year award. Shows how highly he's held by Australian rugby. Freddie Stewart can't get that one under pressure from Swali'i. And good tactics, Ashi, to have Swali'i chasing those box kicks, because Freddie Stewart's under real pressure there.
Yes, good defence from England. They're just solving a lot of problems, not managing to make much of it in attack yet, but defensively overall they look really solid. Australia aren't getting too much gain line. They went to go to the left edge there, couldn't find a way outside. Roebuck stopped it, clutched the intercept. Dingwall should have done better and got the quick kick away quickly.
Got to go that straight. That's got to be instinct.
Thought too long, yeah.
Instinct. Oh my goodness me, there is no one in the backfield. Let's get a 70-metre chase on. Crowd's going to go bananas. Australia kick it out of their own 22 at best.
Well, Guy Pepper, Matt Dawson was singing his praises, and he's got up to win a line-up ball, which another part of being a blindside flanker, the third line-out option for England. Still 0-0 if you're just joining us on 5 Sports Extra, BBC Sounds. Live from the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham, quarter of an hour gone, England 0, Australia 0. There's a expectant hum around the ground, but not the raucous atmosphere that a couple of England tries might bring. Angus Bell, he sets it up for the Wallabies, 15 metres in, his Ballatini again he manages to make a few metres, but he's got Itoje on his case quite a lot. I wonder if Itoje, the Lions captain, has taken it upon himself to try and man-mark one of Australia's danger men. Gordon's going to the air. Surely Swali's going to chase this. Instead, it's Potter after it against Stewart. Stewart just can't get them cleanly. It ends up back, and now George Ford might look to counter-attack. Out from Dingwall to Freeman. He's got Fewa-Boso. He had to give that. Didn't give it, Freeman. Threw a dummy. I wonder if Fewa-Boso should have been let clear there. But good stuff this from England. Then it's knocked on by Earl and hacked forward by Australia. No advantage. Will come back for the knock-on by Ben Earl, who came steaming onto the ball after that good England breakout. But he lost it forward. Australia will have the scrum in their own half, 10 metres from the halfway, about 12 metres in from touch.
They just don't need to rush England. Australia in attack are offering not very much at the moment. They're opting to just kick it, box kick it, and hopefully they can win it back and get some momentum that way. But Edmed at fly half is not looking to play the ball at all. They just need to slow themselves down a little bit. They don't need to score first phase. Spend some time in the Wallabies half, because they look like they're going to break them down.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of what's that early couple of rounds in a boxing match, just sort of
shadow boxing.
Yeah, well, no, just sort of feeling a way around the ring and each other and where the weaknesses are, and just a bit of sparring going on. I think England, George Ford particularly, is probably working them out a little bit. There's so much opportunity off turnovers. England not quite making the right decisions at those times.
So to continue the analogy, say we're 2 rounds in, England have got 1-10-9, Australia have got 1-10-9. All level on the scorecards, all level on the scoreboard. 17 minutes gone, England 0, Australia 0. Yeah, you wonder what a try for England in that opening, with that big opportunity early on. That would have really got the crowd engaged. But now there's a bit of a hush around the stadium, because they know England are in a real contest here. But Fewa-Boso's got away. Oh, what a break from Manny Fewa-Boso. He was galloping away, and then the groans as it was intercepted by Wilson. Surely Australia won't run this, surely they'll kick. There's a fair few England players looking to sit the Wallabies down. Gordon out to Tupou, out the back. They are keeping it in the hands, in their own half are the Wallabies. Harry Wilson, that's nice from the skipper. Now the hooker Pollard over on the far touchline. Fewa-Boso, real glimpse of his ability there as Gordon is charged down by Itoje. Out it comes to Paisami. He's got Swaliti with him. Swaliti, good hands from the former rugby league man. Out to Potter. Now they kick a bit later than
All on now.
maybe expected. Freddie Stewart, ironic cheers because he's struggled under the high ball a bit so far today, albeit really tough ones to take. Ford's put it up. Stewart wants that one. He's not got it. Brilliantly plucked up the air by Australia, but he's going to give a penalty here. Is Nika Amishakeli. I wonder what that was for, because Australia got so high in the air as Tain Edmed, the number 10. Oh, he's done it for holding on. That feels harsh when he's up for the high ball.
Yeah, I think Guy Pepper got over him so quickly. I mean, a lovely break and sidestep from Fayaboso, but you know, we're talking international, and I picked him out as someone who I think is got that ability to be world class. You can't tuck it under your arm in that traffic, because every single one of the Australian players knew that he wasn't going to pass the ball. Alex Mitchell screaming for it down the left-hand touchline, had no chance because the winger's holding it tucked. Dare I say, Chris Ashton, when he's scoring a try, he's allowed to tuck it under his arm, but not when he's just jinking through traffic. It's got to be available.
Yeah, it's probably something that we haven't mentioned too much, because he's been away and then got banned with a red card and stuff. Took a long time to come back from his injury, but he's so elusive.
Well, George Ford is going for goal. Slap bang in front. He's got that one. Nicely done from Ford. 444 international points becomes 447 for one of England's greatest ever point scorers.
You've also got to remember, fellas, you know, the England players have been playing in the Gallagher Prem, you know, and they do kick to the corners and they think they're going to score 5 tries and you're going to score 6. Or this international rugby, very, very different. Sometimes it's 3, it's 6, it's 9. Put some pressure on the opposition for them to make a mistake, then get the try.
I think it's a great watch, the Prem, at the moment, but it's a fair gap, isn't it, in terms of style to what you get at Test rugby, which is a bit more like this. 20 minutes gone, England 3, Australia 0. Tester for Swaliti up against Roebuck, who has nicked it and given it to Underhill, and Ben Earl's got a run in from 40. Here goes the number 8. What a try! What a moment for Ben Earl! The trademark thumbs up celebration. And just when we were talking about Test matches being tight and cagey, England go in from 50. Great try from Ben Earl, 7th for his country, and that may be the pick of the bunch.
I mean, what wheels that was. Shown for Ben Earl, but fabulous box kick. Tom Roebuck, classic, like a Aussie rules footballer, towering above everybody else, catches it, and the moment he hits the deck, there's the support, a quick couple of passes, and let's not beat around the bush. It wasn't a... What year was that try that you scored? 2010, was it? Something like that?
I think so, can't really remember.
It wasn't quite up to that level. However, for a number 8 to be sprinting in, all the Aussie backs are going to be gutted to be it.
Big moment that, actually. 10-0 England.
But Roebuck's got over the top of Swahili there. It's not someone he's just jumped over a short fly half. He's got over a proper ball catcher and made it look easy. Not only catch the ball, landed and continue his running and found an offload. This is what I touched on before the game, with how good he just seems to fit this game at international level. Gets over him, gets the offload away, and it's a free run-in. I am a bit concerned. I've watched Valentini chase a kick-off. He's jogging. He's no sprinting for this one. And Tupou, the prop forward, has hardly been able to catch his breath. Look how much he's struggling, Dorsey. He can hardly get to the line.
Yeah, they look a bit out of puff, the Wallabies. I mean, they've got a fair few more games this month. I mean, maybe if this was the last game of their year, late November, it'd be a bit more excusable. I know they've had a lot of rugby, a lot of travel as well, but
Nobody touched the ball.
they've got a long way to go in this game, around an hour just under, and then some other big matches. Let's see what Tupou's got. Well, he heard Chris Ashton, and he goes on a burst into the 22, does the tight head. And they've got penalty advantage, so a chance for Australia to respond. They trail by 10. That Ben Earl try from the perfect Mitchell box kick, Roebuck beating Swaliti, and then Underhill on hand. Really good stuff all round from England, who lead by 10 now at Twickenham. That got the crowd involved. What a hit. Who was that?
Underhill.
No, it's Finn Baxter, I think, actually. Underhill standing by the ruck.
Yeah, it was.
Finn
Baxter.
Baxter. What a hit! But no advantage being played. I mean, he's got the fate of a quiet boy, but he hits like a monster, does Finn Baxter. That was huge. The shade of Joe Marler, his mentor at Quins. But it's an Aussie penalty because England didn't release, so now Australia have to come up with something in response.
Yeah, Ben Earl's gone in at the side there. That's too bad. Poor technique from England in their rucking, defensively and attacking. Rucking and clearing, which could be costly. We're not missing anything at the moment. Oh no, there's a couple of injuries. Now we can and should wax lyrically about England's finishing ability there, and even the quick hands from Sam Underhill, just to give it to the speed, not to take the space away from Ben Earl there, with just those quick hands. But then it's as if there needs that automatic switch of, right, our exit, how are we going to get out of here? And you relieve all of that pressure that you know Australia are going to bang into it. And again, it's forgivable because this is not Prem rugby, this is international rugby, and every phase and every passage is going to be really high intensity.
Slight concern for Australia is the general phase play. Tane Edmed just doesn't really seem to know how he wants his team to move around and how he's going to bring everybody. Just kind of relying on someone flicking it out at the back, and it's not paid much dividends at the moment, so he's got to find his feet quickly, Tane. Hopefully now they're 5-6 metres out, they've got enough to make something of it.
Yeah, big moment for Australia here. 24 minutes gone, 10-0. If they can respond, it's game on. If another England score with the momentum, the home crowd, then that put England resoundingly in the driving seat. But Australia have field position. Have they got a cutting edge they haven't shown in the opening 25 minutes today? Gordon, to the right he goes. Edmed static, brings in Swali'i, just the left of the uprights, as Harry Wilson now in his red scrum cap. He goes to, what, 7-8 metres or so. Now Tupou, but England are quick off the line, and Itoje is trying to get Tupou into touch. He almost managed it, but Tupou just left it behind before going out of the field of play. Here is Hunter Paisami, but England have done well to keep the Wallabies behind the gain line. So Wilson tries to do the hard yards round the ruck. Still there for Australia. Ballatini, he makes a couple of metres. They're only 5 or 6 out, but they need some kind of cutting edge, you feel, to breach the England try line. Itoje's on that ball. The referee's not happy. Advantage being played. You heard the comms as Australia peel away to the left, held up, back for the penalty. 5 metres out. Australia have another shot.
Just don't need to do that, England. Australia have got absolutely nothing in attack. The whole team is more or less, apart from the winger on the right touchline, stood within 20 metres of this left-hand touchline. They're so eager to be the guy to get the turnover. You don't need to, do you, Dos?
No, this is not how I expected Australia to play in any way. They're just desperate for the pick and go. I know it is a little bit greasy, maybe, but it's pick and go around the corner. It's driving mauls, and yeah, there's a sort of, I don't know, a lethargy around the players, the Australian players, that Ashley's right. England just like, listen, we can defend this all day.
Australia win the line out, set up a maul. That's nicely formed. Body positions are good here for Australia. Has it gone to ground again? I think it may have done. England have done so well to spoil that. It looked like Australia were really nicely set, but the England pack have done a job there on the Wallabies. England 10, Australia 0, and England will have the scrum.
No. It was a sort of front peel or a shift, shearing maul, but no control. Ball at the front of the maul. I mean, anybody of any level, you'd be coached to get that ball to the back of the maul so it's available. And England are just like, well, thanks very much, guys. We'll take that all day long. Easy pickings. Turnover for England. England look very much in control of this game. Australia making it slightly more, maybe easier than they were than England were expecting.
So England do have the scrum. It's the wrong part of the pitch for them. 5 metres from the Australian line, right in the corner. 5 metres in from the touchline. So still, Australia will feel they can make the most of this field position as Alex Mitchell feeds the scrum, and it's a free kick as Australia go too early. So George Ford will have a chance to bang this out of England's own territory. Chris Ashton.
Yeah, they've just got it their own way here, England, at the moment. So far, they've not really been challenged by Australia. Just need to make sure they make it count, this, because it could turn. You know, Australia could just flick it on at any point in the game with some of the players that they've got. They haven't spent too much time down in the Australian half, really. They scored a try from near the halfway line. Other than that, they haven't been down there yet.
It's not going to get any easier for Australia when England bring their bench on. 6 lions on the bench. You know, they cannot afford to be 10, 12 points behind going with 20, 30 minutes to go. Not a chance.
Steve Borthwick would 100% take this 10-0 up on half an hour as Australia try and work a move in attack, but it breaks down and Feo Bosu cleans up Potter, who is jolted behind the gain line. As England pour forward, it's still there for Australia, but to Chris Ashton's earlier point, they don't look really well oiled behind the scrum, do Australia, as Swali gets it away. And then Harry Wilson has to kick. It's a decent nudge, actually. It's a 50-22, isn't it?
A decent nudge.
Well, just checking it's a 50-22. No, they're not giving it. He wants it checked. He's adamant it's a 50-22. He's hit it off the left.
Right.
Let's have a look on the replay.
Yeah.
I can't believe he called it. He's hit it left-footed on the left touchline. Banana kicked it 50 metres and into touch, and you went decent nudge.
Well, no one likes hyperbole in commentary. Outside of the boot, was it deliberate?
Doesn't matter.
Having it. Well, it's moved play up to the 22. But there is a bigger issue about Australia with the ball in hand.
Well, just before Harry Wilson kicked it, they've got the right winger sat behind a pod of forwards, getting the ball at the back, trying to fire miss passes. Why is he there playing behind? He's playing ball, he's playing fly half, the winger. It just shows how much they don't really understand how they're going to break down.
There's no direct, there's no power plays from Australia to try and, you know, just get England on that back foot, just to take a bit of the momentum for then those more elusive players from Australia to find the gaps. It's all very shovel it. Oh, no, it's not on for me. Shovel it. Oh no, it's not on for me. Give it to the winger. Oh, it's a number 8 on the winger. You know.
George finds a Toje, the well-honed Saracens combination. Sam, was that Ben Earl, the try scorer, who's come storming onto the ball. This back row for England are really putting themselves about. Earl, Underhill, Pepper, all prominent. Edmed in the backfield, just short of the halfway line. Kellaway is scragged by a Toje who wanted the turnover. There's Wilson, he knocks it on. Yeah, this is ragged stuff from the Wallabies. England have the scrum on halfway. It's like they're relying on individuals, but there doesn't seem to be too much. For all the talk of cohesion for a team that's played 11 test matches this year, it doesn't seem to be there.
No, but this is a good opportunity here for England. Centre field scrum, halfway line. Not had much ball in the opposition half. It's a good chance to put something on this set piece and just set up good for you. It's a really good chance for them to get in there and turn it into some points.
Yeah, you definitely feel that there should be some messaging going on for England to make them aware, because it's very difficult. It's very difficult when you're in the game to be aware of what the opposition are doing and are they playing well, are they playing badly. There needs a message to come on and say, guys, Australia have got nothing in certain areas. We are going to get turnovers. What are we going to do off those turnovers? Let's be clinical. Let's not worry about the set piece. Let's focus on our turnover plays and be ruthless about it.
Scrum has spun around, but Mitchell's got some space, finds Ford. He's got loads of metres to gallop into. Now Freeman, that was really simple. But England have gone marching into the 22. Lovely play. Ford, Earl's wanting a second. Earl's got a second, I think. The referee will check. That was so easy. England just down the short side. Ford, Stewart, Freeman. Back it came. Earl came onto it like a bullet. And I think
He
He's
doesn't
got
like
it down.
No, he doesn't.
Or has
like
he not?
it.
No.
No, Ben Earl doesn't like it. He's just having a little curse to himself there on the way back. He knows that he should be finishing that.
Yeah, he's held up. Well done, Australia. Well, I thought he'd walked it in. 10-0 England. We're off already with the goal line. George Ford's going to drop goal, as you know. He's going to pass to Freddie Stewart. They're getting a lot of change down this left-hand side. England, as Fraser Dingwall, who's the cog in this England backline. Mitchell, nicely done, out to Freeman. Northampton 2, Northampton. England 10, Australia 0. 8 and a bit to go of this first half on Sports Extra, BBC Sounds, BBC Sport website. George Ford to Roebuck, who's great in the air. That one's gone too far, has it? Taken by Potter and well claimed by Harry Potter.
I can't understand that decision there from George Ford. It's the first time you've had the ball down here. You've just come off the back of a scrum and made break easily. Done 3 phases and kicked the ball away.
Can we just wind the clock back to that very easy, what seemed like, I don't know, a 4-on-3 that England created for Ben Earl to be held up. You've got to give a nod to the forwards there. That was an unbelievable left-hand scrum up. Finn Baxter has worked over Tupou. They've got a massive left wheel, and therefore that's what's made it very, very easy for England, because Australia can't bite in on that type of defence.
Good England line-out ball. Mitchell, Ford, Earl into Valentini. Big collision. Bang in the centre of the Twickenham Park. Mitchell to the left. Nice hands. Fraser Dingwall. Tom, just a big squiggly from Freddie Stewart. The crowd thought it was Ford. I think the players thought it was Ford, but the referee didn't, and he's the one that matters as Ford shovels it on to Baxter, who's having a big game, the Harlequin. Mitchell to Ford. They're just starting to tick now, England. Dingwall, Earl, nice tip on. Freddie Stewart. Stewart goes into the 22. He had Pepper on the right-hand edge. There for Mitchell. England really cooking now as George thunders up to 6 or 7 metres. Mitchell to the left. Spinning up the tackle is Freeman. Try scoring brilliance, all Six Nations. Mitchell under the crossbar to the right. Jamie George. Fraser Dingwall. Oh, it's been intercepted. No. And Australia might be in here through Potter. You are joking. He's going to go the length. Oh, I cannot believe it. Aussie are right back in this game now. Harry Potter, from practically his own goal line, has scored for Australia.
That's the difference there between the Prem and international rugby. That pass there from Dingwall in the Prem is a try for England. But at this stage, with these players, they'll pick that pass off. They read it. He had no right to read it there, Harry Potter. He's just completely turned. It was a walk-in, really. Had the pass gone wide enough, he's just read it perfectly, and there was nobody around with any gas to catch him.
Yeah, and it's a shame there wasn't anyone with any gas, because he was struggling. Harry Potter was not using his wand in any way to create any more speed. Goodness me, he was in some quicksand, but it didn't matter. He had enough. It looked like he was going to slide in from about 5 metres out there. He was so tired. But yeah, Ashley's spot on. It's just these little moments that are significant in these types of games, and a lot of it does reflect on the type of rugby that you're playing every week, and recognising scenarios and body shapes and angles, but that will come. You know, we don't need to beat this England side up here. These are errors it's not a problem. It doesn't need to be an issue. You just got to learn from it and realise that your brain needs to just turn up another notch.
England 10, Australia 7. Australia's try coming just as England were really putting their foot down. They were going through the phases, they were busting the line, and they looked like they were going to score their second try, which could have taken them out of sight with the way Australia were flagging in this first half. But it's somehow a 3-point ball game, and that might be just what Australia need as we approach half-time, which is 4 minutes away as the rain starts to fall at Twickenham. Edmed is kicking. Where's this going to end up? Oh, it's going to... Tell you what, if Fraser McRyan had got that over one more to Jake Gordon, he could have been in. It looked an incredibly speculative kick from Tane Edmed. It wasn't claimed by Ford. It's been knocked on by somebody. Let's look at this replay, Matt Dawson. As Edmed
I thought he was going to give it. I think you're absolutely spot on, Jonesy. If he just literally catch and give, put that in the space.
We'll have a look. We'll have a look.
Was it Marai?
Clearly backwards.
McWright was
Yeah.
the one on his shoulder. But
Gordon.
Gordon was on McWright's shoulder, yeah. And
mean,
he knocked it
he's
on
away.
to McWright. He is in.
There's a gaping space behind the England defence there, actually. I mean, the Aussies have done well to exploit it, but where on earth was the defence there? That was...
Mitchell had over-egged his defensive being in the front line, and he kind of pushed too far up. That's his space to cover, as you know, Dorsey. I don't know what, maybe because the one pass forced him out a little bit on the outside, but he didn't need to go as far as he did. It's good play from Australia. It is. I think those opportunities, you only get one shot at it. You've got to really turn it into something when you do it.
Right, England still lead, but it's only by 3 as try scorer Earl finds Mitchell out the back to Ford. Fraser Dingwall. Stewart kind of overran it, so Dingwall sensibly set it up. Slap bang in centre field. Oh, they've got numbers to left, have they, England? Big tackle, though, coming in on Jamie George, who is rocked back, and then Australia just had the bit between their teeth. That's what a converted try will do, and Earl knocks it on, so Australia will get the scrum as they snuff out that attack. Well, the momentum just swinging back a little bit. That's why Test rugby is endlessly fascinating.
Some big hits going in. I just feel like Mitchell is just choosing the wrong pass. There's a lot of options there. Jamie George shouldn't have been the guy that he hit there. There's 3 or 4 other options. I think it's happened a couple of times.
There's a couple of I'm putting Dingwall in that sort of bucket of indecision at the moment. Both those players are just forcing it a little bit. Alice Mitchell's, he seems to be choosing the right direction, but then is not necessarily picking the right person to pass the ball to, and usually that's a bit of a super strength for Alex Mitchell, isn't it? Finding those holes. What might help him is if he just has a go himself. If he just, even if he threatens to have a go, then there has to be an element of biting in from the defence that then he can then start to distribute, but he's only distributing.
I think he's expecting Australia to be a bit better defensively than they actually are. There's chances there for him, but he's almost thinking, oh no, it's 10-7, what, we can't play that pass? No, just play it. I'm sure Lee Blackett will be like, lads, it's all on at half-time. We're showing them, just play. There's space there to be had. Don't be nervous about it and try and keep it tight until a walk-in tries on. Play the game.
Well, it's worth pointing out that Australia are routinely slow starters. They trailed at half-time in all 6 of their Rugby Championship games, including a huge deficit against South Africa. They came back to win, so do not write this Aussie side off, as Edmed from the free kick is caught, and England working hard on the floor. Tommy Freeman was looking for a poach, didn't get it. As we go into the final minute of this first half on Sports Extra and BBC Sounds, live from Twickenham. Swali out the back, they might have a bit of space here. Potter again, the try scorer. Edmed overran it. Ford kicks down the line for a combination of Roebuck and Freeman, and Roebuck's going into the dead ball area. Australia get there first. Good covering, actually, from Jeremy Williams, the lock. And will that be it for the first half? Clever work from George Ford, as Australia almost got outside England, but Potter and Edmed, their link broke down.
You've got to give the lock a bit more credit again here, Chris.
That's what you guys, I'm just calling the action. You guys can add your the finesse on it.
I think you could still use an adjective to be a little bit more positive, that he's sprinted back.
Well, extraordinary cover.
There we go. We're in.
To get back there and force the goal line drop off. And that came after that magnificent earlier kick from Harry Wilson on his left boot down the line. Oh, okay. He's tried to kick it out, Edmed, and he's just kicked it to England and Baxter. That is blooper territory stuff. And then it got turned over. Okay, this is definitely kind of first day at school kind of stuff. Just to explain what's happened there, the whistle is ready for half-time. Instead of Edmed kicking it out, he tries to dribble it out cutely. It goes straight to Baxter. He tries to run it in for a try. England have turned over. Australia gleefully hack it clear. And a rather chaotic yet compelling first half ends. England 10, Australia 7. Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton.
Yeah, it's plenty to talk about. I think very encouraging in parts for England. I would, with all the information that the coaches can gather from that on where Australia are not at the moment, I am expecting some big things from England in this second half to make amends for some of the gaps that they've missed in the first.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they'll sit down and realise and get showed some bits where, like, lads, we could have walked in 3 or 4 times. We've just not quite taken the opportunity when it's been there. And Australia coming more and more into this game. Maybe it's just taking them a bit wake up and get into this game at Twickenham, but they look more dangerous, but they've got some problems to sort out, Australia.
I mean, England could be well clear and they're not. So either that's going to inspire Australia, or England are just a better team here and the second half will play that out. It is going to be interesting whatever. England 10, Australia 7. Massive credit to Australia, because at 10-0 England were in control, but that intercept try from Harry Potter has put the Wallabies within 3. Earlier Ben Earl scoring a spectacular run in from 50 odd metres after Tom Roebuck did so well in the air. England 10, Australia 7, half time in the first of the autumn internationals today in the Autumn Nations Series. Scotland play against the USA. That follows us on Sports Extra on BBC Radio Scotland. And then Ireland against New Zealand. What a game this evening in Chicago at 8:10. That is at Soldier Field in Chicago, an iconic venue for American sports, but an iconic venue as well for Irish rugby, because 9 years ago Ireland claimed their first ever win against New Zealand in Chicago. And there's a brand new rugby podcast out from our colleagues at BBC Northern Ireland, and what a lineup. Conor Murray at the heart of it. He's been reflecting on that famous win in his brand new pod, The Ireland Social, and he was joined by another former Ireland great, Rory Best, to reflect on that day, that famous day in 2016, and the emotion leading into the game surrounding the death of the former Ireland 8, Anthony Foley.
My personal view on that day was when we did the formation, the figure of 8, and we were at the front, the Munster players. I remember just looking across at New Zealand, and very rarely happens that you're like, well, no way today, like not a hope. And you know, when you might try and get yourself up for a club game and say that, but it doesn't hit home. That day I was like, no other way today. And I think we were all galvanised by that, and and that brought the emotion to 100. And then obviously with everything else that we were doing right, it was just made for it.
Yeah, it was an amazing statement.
Yeah, because I think it was so important, because that was the first time the Irish team had been together since Axel's passing, and I think for Irish rugby, for a show of support to Munster, Axel's family, and then obviously as important to us is all the players that had been coached by him, some had played alongside him, for us to show them that you know it did hit home to us was really, really important. I remember we sort of talked about that figure of 8, and then sort of one thing we did say was that when the crowd figure out what we're doing, because everyone tries to do different things to the haka, but when the crowd see it displaced, because it's going to be largely Irish, are going to go ballistic, and they did. And
that was really cool when we went into the formation, and the crowd, you literally could nearly hear them be like, oh,
working
God,
out.
Yeah. Like, oh. And then
because once the camera kind of panned to it, and you could see it on the big screen, because everyone's like looking, you know what it's like.
Except everyone did it perfectly, except Andrew Trimble couldn't find his slot.
Well, the other one,
Alton
Delan ended up on the wrong side. So if you look at the 8, it's slightly lopsided.
Yeah, brilliant.
So it is.
We had practiced it.
We practiced it loads.
Really? So
we practiced it in the team room.
Yeah, remember Joe would have us come in. You'd come in like into the huddle just before we go into the formation, and you'd kind of position yourself like near here when we break out. And then Joe would be like mix around, like swap seats or something, whatever, and then you'd be like trying to. It was carnage, but we nailed it every time.
Yeah, we did. Except in the big moment.
Just two people. Yeah.
And that took a little away from the haka. Obviously, is that always the challenge of playing New Zealand, because they have that little bit of an advantage, or did you enjoy that?
I never. I grown up watching the haka and finding it so cool to watch on TV, and then anytime I played against them, I genuinely just watched it and I was like, this is class to see live. I don't know, I just loved it, and I love watching New Zealand. So
the people thing,
other people do.
Yeah, when you're looking for stuff, the people try to find ways that they get an advantage from it, and look, they'll get their own emotional lift And the way we always looked at it, the way I looked at it as a captain was going, right, well, actually, let's find our bit. And look, if you need to look beyond them to the scoreboard to think about what's important to you, or if you want to step across the line or whatever is going to be symbolic to us, to make sure that we have our own emotional bit, because that's theirs. But I had the same as Connor. I loved facing it. And what certainly the hookers did anyway, they'd find you in the line and they would stare at you the whole time. You just stuff like that. Like, if that doesn't motivate you and sort of stir something inside you, then you're probably playing the wrong sport anyway. So no, I was the same. But it's such a historic thing. And they've obviously made it now. Yeah, big thing. Like when you look back at the haka in the 60s and 70s, it looks more like Morris dancing than the haka you see now. But look, they are a team that are very, very aware of their brand, and they're very, very aware of all of that, and all these books and all this stuff comes out, that they know that it all forms part of the mystique that is New Zealand rugby, and they're very good at it. So we have to find our own way to go, well, actually, what is it about us that we need to bring out today? And this is part of their stuff, and it's class to face, but actually it's about us the whole time.
That was a great All Blacks team. I think they had 18 wins in a row or something when they came to play you boys, something like that.
Yeah.
What did it mean then to get over the line that last 20 minutes? I suppose that last 3 minutes as well.
Last 3 minutes was the best, wasn't it? Surreal, wasn't it? So surreal that I remember when Robbie scored his final try, and Joey converted it on his first cap, which was class, and then running back. I remember Zebo going mental with Joey that he got. I think he did get the conversion. He did it because it was 38, and then. I was chatting to Rob Kearney, and I was like, looking at the scoreboard, I was like, we're well beyond 7 points. They can't score twice. Like this is done. It's over. And I remember going to Rob like, man, we're going like this is unbelievable. Look around like this, and he was like, just catch the kick off, and we'll do the next. And Rob, look at the time. there's they cannot score again, and he's like, I suppose you're actually right. Hell, we'll go mental this evening. And if he denies that, you did say that, Rob. And then we just had the best time ever. Yeah.
What would you like as a captain?
What time does this go out?
Do the pre-10 o'clock version.
No, he was brilliant, and we had obviously so much success with Rory at the helm, because I think number one for me, probably coming in as a young player, like the way Rory got on with like a fella coming in the door for the first time, and a fella that has been there for 10-15 years, there was no difference, and he was as approachable for the young fella as he was to the older fella in the room, and he's smiling, but
approachable.
Maybe not to the outside world, but he actually is quite a decent fella. I think just whatever, like him as a player, incredible as a leader, and knowing what to say, when to say it. But I often look at like captains through my time. I've experienced loads of captains, and I think genuinely socially, even if it's just on the bus to training or whatever, like being one of the lads and being part of the crack and being fully immersed and like committed to like that bond that we spoke about at the start of this, like being a genuine mate and a genuine like person to go to war with. You see some captains that you probably wouldn't see outside the hotel room. You see him at training, you see him in meeting rooms, and that would be about the height of it. But like being fully invested, I think was probably his strength that he showed us throughout the years, like with the playing ability and the left leg and all that stuff aside. It was that I think was really big, because that year we were probably the tightest squad I've been a part of. Like genuine mates, and we're still here today.
Was it nice to have one more captain? Huh?
Yeah, that was a huge thing for me in the last year, as I was hanging on by the fingernails to get that last cap. Yeah. Look, he motivates you. Yeah. He motivates you.
Donald Callahan said to me at the World Cup in 2011, and they asked me to go on against Russia at the tail end, if they were winning whatever. And I went, it was pissing with rain. It was in, was it Rotorua or somewhere?
Yeah, it was.
And I went, I was actually at a bit of confidence. I felt I was playing well, and I thought, this is only going to go. I went, no, they said, what do you think? Do you want me to push for you to go on? This is the S&C coach. And I went, do you know what, I'm actually all right.
Is that the one?
And Dunners goes to me, he goes, I'm going to remind you of this when you get stuck in 99 caps. And then Ben goes to me, He goes, do you remember that time you didn't go on? You'd have been left with Connor. I also said, do you remember the two test tour I missed because you were being bored? That would have taken me past Connor. So stop giving me grief on this.
That's a fair
He's always got an answer.
Yeah. There's always something. I have a few of those games that I could have gone way further.
Totally. And actually, the ironic thing about the Dunners one was my 99th cap was that game against New Zealand 2 weeks later. And they went from being, because we'd now beaten them, they went, right, we can't just rely on rugby. And it became the World Rugby said after.
That was violence,
3 yellow cards, 2 red cards.
Yeah.
Robbie Henshaw knocked out.
Gary
Zebo got
Malachi tried to behead him.
I'd say it was probably the most
teammates.
ferocious game that I'd ever played in.
I remember in that game being like, whoa, this is like, this is on the edge here. And actually, like very loose.
Yeah, Jodie was watching it going, she was never so glad to see me coming off. So of course I was furious because we'd lost. And I go like, what do you mean you're happy? And she goes, well, like, you'll now get to play your 100th game next week against Australia. And I'm like going, are you joking me? Like, we've just lost. We should have beaten them.
We got whacked.
It was so combative. And you're kind of going, if you'd have been one of those guys to get injured in that and maybe never played again, I would have been sitting on the 99.
Oh,
and would have had
Dunners would have been first to ring you.
Right. He'd have been right for the first time in his life.
How are you, boy?
5 Live Sports.
Goes for the end zone, touchdown!
NFL.
Touchdown, Philadelphia! Great play design.
I think you just have to go out there and be the best that you can be. We're going to go out there and lay it all on the line.
12-yard touchdown run. 105 yards on the return.
Where speed, power, and skill collide.
And the Eagles have beaten the Chiefs convincingly in Super Bowl 59.
5 Live Sports. NFL. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Well, welcome back to 5 Sports Extra. Chris Jones is still here from the BBC, but what a half of rugby we have been treated to. England 10, Australia 7, still 40 minutes to go. And Matt Dawson, as I hand back to Chris Jones, this is all going to be about what comes off the bench from both sides.
You should stick around, Cyrus. You stick around for a little bit.
Sorry.
Add a bit of positivity right there.
That's exactly right.
I tried to take on the toilet run at half time, which is
that was impressive toilet
You've
run,
been
by the
gone
way.
far too long if that's
Get
what you're
through.
doing.
No, getting through the crowds here, that was
overly ambitious.
You've properly gone through that crowd. Do you know who I am? I'm working for the BBC.
No, I made a rookie error, went up too early. Anyway, you don't need to know the details. England 10, Australia 7. Thanks to Sarah for stepping into the void temporarily. Rain pouring down. What is Steve Borthwick saying to his men at half-time as the players emerge from the tunnel, Matt?
Yeah, I think he'll be super positive. First game up. Yes, there are going to be a few errors. They just need to sharpen up their skill set, their decision making. There are just so many opportunities. Now, of course, Australia are going to be making sure that some of those doors are closed that were wide open in the first half. However, the dominance of England, the field position, the set piece, their phase play, I can't see that changing too much. And it should be a good opportunity for England to manipulate Australia and score a couple of tries.
It should be. It feels like it should be 17-0, 20-0 to England, really, with the way the first half went. But Australia find themselves only 3 points down, not done very much. They probably sat there going, hang on, lads, we haven't really shown much of ourselves here. We can turn it into something. And England will be like, we've missed more opportunities. So I'm really looking forward to the second half. I feel like both teams have got a bit of a realisation at half-time that they should have done more in the first half in what they had, both sides. And especially at the England bench, you'd like to think it's going to have a really big impact here.
Because if you're Australia, you can say, guys, we couldn't have played much worse, and we're only 3 points down at Twickenham. And if you're England, you say, hold on, there's only one team out there with a little bit more poise and accuracy. The game is theirs, so it's really set up nicely, Matt, as the players re-emerge from the tunnel. Yeah. And when they use their bench, it's going to be one to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the benches are going to be key. And Steve Borthwick definitely has a job to work out when it's going to have maximum impact. And one thing we haven't mentioned, the development for England also in this game is just their discipline. Those unnecessary penalties, turnovers, they cut them out of the game, then they all of a sudden their possession stats go way higher.
Well, taken by Nick Frost from George Ford's restart. Swathes of empty seats on the far side. I can testify the queues out there are quite heavy, so people still getting their way back to their seats after a pit stop, a refreshment break. As Jake Gordon clears for Australia, he looks for the sanctuary of touch rather than any particular distance. Decent kick, very, very, very good kick actually from Jake Gordon. Takes play up to the 10-metre line.
I like what you've done there, but you've actually over-egged that one.
I know. For anybody who wasn't,
too many berries there, I think.
Anybody who wasn't with us in the first half, Chris and Matt were giving me stick for not praising good play with the suitable flourish. So that was a good kick from Gordon up to the 10-metre line, and Jamie George to throw. But this is where England like it. Look at that. George Ford deep, a few forwards lined up outside, and what do they got from the line out? They lose it. All best laid plans. And Edmed hurls it inside. Got to be kicking this, haven't they? Australia, they're from their own 22. Paisami found Swaliti, who set up just short of the 22. Doesn't seem to be a big kicker in terms of clearing his lines, does Tane Edmed. He's kept the ball in his hand a lot and used Gordon more often than not. Australia going through a few phases in their own 22 now. They trail by 3, a minute and a half into this second half on 5 Sports Extra. You can hear England through the ref mic getting their defensive drills in shape. Gordon kind of hooks it to touch, and England have the line out. They get another chance now to try and run a line out move.
Just what they wanted. Just what England wanted. Another opportunity to get that line out. Not very often you see the, well, dare I say, unbreakable bond between Jamie George and Maro Itoje in that line out. But Australia did well. They intercepted it. They read the play well. England will make sure that this line out is spot on, and with pretty much 40 metres out. This is prime time for England. Get on the front foot. Are they looking for a bit of a Earl? No. Yeah, a bit of Earl in the midfield there, Ashley. Truck it up, or the decoy.
I'd like to see Manny Feoboso get some early ball too.
Well, the trouble is the last couple of line-outs have gone to pot.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help. You can have everything set up for a move, but if you don't win your line-out ball, there's not much point. So scrappy opening 2 minutes to a scrappy game, but there's been loads to talk about as well. As Earl sets it up on the halfway line, loads of competition at that breakdown. It's spat out, and Australia have it. They kick forward, and Stewart has to scamper across as much as a 6'5" man can scamper. Does really well to run it out of his own 22 there, Freddie Stewart. That got the Twickenham crowd engaged after half-time. The ball kind of goes to nobody, so Fraser Dingwall kicks down the throat, though, of Potter, who's got Kellaway with him, and Kellaway sets it up on halfway there for Australia, who may have numbers to the left as Gordon finds Angus Bell.
So flat and one-dimensional, though, isn't it, that from Australia?
Tupou with a little ball to Hunter Paisami, but he's short of the halfway. But as Matt Dawson's saying, there's not much vim in this Aussie phase play. But they're still in the game as Harry Wilson crashes into a couple of England players. There for Gordon, they're little tip-ons, but England defensively have been pretty good, you'd say. As Gordon is around the halfway line, Australia continue to play. Can they get it down the short side? McBride had Valentini lurking on the left touchline. Didn't use him, but they have at least gone into the England half. As England look to counter-ruck, and they've done a decent job on that Australian ball, and they won a penalty. That was ponderous from the Wallabies, wasn't it? And they kind of put out their misery a bit with the ball in hand by conceding a penalty. England can go into the Australian half with the boot now.
In amongst all those phases, I counted 3 phases where Australian caught the ball standing still and shoveled it onto the second receiver, who was standing still 3 times.
And the guy who cleared 4 of those rucks as the Australian fly half, he was in 4 rucks cleaning. He just completely not in this game whatsoever. He's passing and following into rucks. What is really surprising me is this is a Joe Schmidt team. It's so unusual for his teams to play like this. They're normally very detailed, intricate, especially attack-wise. It's really surprising, but again, England have just got to make it count, get some more points on the board.
Completely, because the game is still in the balance. They do win this line out. George peels away, finds Tom Roebuck off his wing. Itoje picks and goes, helped out by Baxter. Bit of noise from the Twickenham crowd, getting behind their team. Guy Pepper drives on, much better from England. They're now into the guts of the Australian 22. McCrite's on that ball. He's good on the floor. Penalty Australia. That white scrum cap from Fraser McCrite like a flashing warning light. And they leave him isolated. He will nab it, and Australia have the penalty.
Yeah, and this is so difficult in the heat of battle, but England changing tactic, pick and go, pick and go, pick and go. Really great yardage. Here we go again. No, that's not the one to pick and go. You just got your head up there, Mr. Baxter. You would have seen there were 3 Aussies waiting for that one moment where the picker was going to be isolated, and then they're on it. Tackling and winning that ball. That is part of their strategy, Australia. You have to have good decision making around the fringes.
Tupu's walking off there, Jonesy. I'm not surprised at all.
Alan Alatoa is on at tight head. It's funny because even though Australia haven't done much of the ball, they continually run it out, don't they, from their own territory. Now they're going to kick. Edmed with a kind of
good kick as well.
Crossfield, Tester up Wayne Jorgensen. He definitely knocked it on. Swiley then flattens Faye with Boso, but that was definitely off the hand of Jorgensen. So it'll be an England scrum at worst for England, unless that's advantage over. Ben Earl, 10-metre line just over for England, who lead 10-7, 6 minutes into the second half. Drizzle, steady, methodical drizzle from the grey Twickenham skies, taken by Kellaway from Mitchell's kick. Can Australia put any kind of width on this ball as Williams sets it up on the 10-metre line, but still it's kind of slow, steady stuff from Australia. There's that, and he gets it away to Valentini. That is much better. He offloads to Billy Pollard. At last, the Aussie forwards with their tails up. Edmed, he flings it wide to Paisami, who's hugging the left touchline. That's excellent from Australia, their best bit of play so far today. Gordon, he arrives at the ruck. Edmed, shackled by Ford. Ford doing his bit defensively, but Australia are into the England 22 after that burst from Valentini and the support from Pollard. Good dummy Gordon, almost got clear. Chesham having to do the try-saving tackle. There goes Swiley, he's tackled by Hayes. Underhill's on that ball, he's got the penalty.
It's Potter, straight off his feet.
And Australia, a 50-metre attack is snuffed out, and we're seeing a replay of a little ball from Alan Alatoa to Bobby Valentini, who's a sight with his tail up. They spread it wide, and then when they came back, Sam Underhill was on the ball, and Australia going in at the side perhaps, and England with the penalty 10 metres from their own line.
It's just fascinating to watch an Australian side who, in their culture, their DNA, it's the brawn, the brains and the brawn. And the brawn's always been slightly missing when it comes to real big test matches with Australia. They have the brains to break down the opposition. They might not have that physicality up front. All Australia want to do today is just try and batter their way through. Even when they make a break, there were 12 Australians there in about 10 metres of space with 2 Australian backs in the middle of the field. No one passed the posts. This is Australia, who make a break, and before you know it, are crossfield kicking or doing some kind of bit of magic and scoring in the corner because they do it for fun. It's like the DNA is very different for Australia on this occasion.
What I mentioned with Joe Schmidt, the coach, we saw Ireland, we saw how he turned them around. He gave them this game plan of ball movement and ball playing forwards. We haven't seen any of that.
What's the stoppage for here, guys? Is it the ref getting some running repairs on his tech? England 10, Australia 7. The band is playing. The rain is falling. The fans I think some fans are still streaming back to their seats from half-time. We've played almost 8 minutes in this second half. No points yet. And referee Nika Amashikeli is ready to go. England with the penalty deep in their own 22 after Australia made a big incision with their best attack of the game, and now look what England have poised on the sidelines. A trio of forwards look ready, all of them British and Irish Lions from the summer. Tom Curry, Henry Pollock and Will Stewart. Ellis Genge is up as well, looking like he means business. But this bench, which is stacked by Steve Borthwick, looks like it's going to be thrust into the fray pretty soon. Forward kick good up to halfway.
Yeah, another great opportunity for England. They do need to sort their line out, though. There's a couple gone. No, it's gone well. That's a good sign.
Underhill to the ever industrious Earl. Over the halfway line goes the Saracen. Now Mitchell looks like he's shaping to box kick. He's got Tom Roebuck, who is great in the air, isn't he, Roebuck? And Mitchell's kicking is often on the money. That may have been a foot or two too far, and it was. Roebuck came forward, and the Australian player ducked for cover. I think it was Potter, who's been in the game so much today. Good defence, Maro Itoje on the fringes. England might get a penalty. No, it's gone Australia's way.
That's so
unlucky.
England
Flood off their feet. England had won the collision and then just didn't get their rucking right. And it will be a penalty to Australia, who will be able to get out of trouble. Ooh, tell you what.
He missed it, nothing in there.
Maro did so well. Put pressure on, forced the error, falls on the ball, but unfortunately, he's got a magician of a back rower straight over him. If you're going to fall on the floor anywhere on this pitch, it was not in front of the Australian back row.
I feel like, actually, I feel like every time that you throw to me, Chris, we're in the same position, aren't we? It's the same line
between the tens,
between the tens, different options. But Australia ball this time. I'm fascinated to see how they're going to go through their phases to try and break England down, because I just can't work out what they're trying to do.
Yeah, because they're not kicking, but they're also not got a huge amount with the ball in hand. So
no.
You're not quite sure. They're trying to flood the left now, and they might get some bit of space down the left side. Fraser McWright goes infield to Joseph Akuso Sualai'i. But again, it's a head down from Australia. Back it now comes. They're very narrow, Australia, as Wilson tips on to Valentini, gobbled up by the England defence. 10-7
and look,
England lead.
Jorgensen here on the right-hand side, on the wing. Every single other Australian, 14 players are inside the post, from the post to the touchline.
They're so narrow, Australia.
If you're a defensive unit here, you could defend that with 6 players, let alone with 15. Easy.
Well, Gordon's going to the air, and forward comes Stewart in his yellow boots, who doesn't take it. But was he taken out? The referee was right there. It's back on the England side either way. Ford got it, looks a bit surprised. Now Fewer-Boso from Dingwall. He's got a bit of space, as Manny Fewer-Boso. And he finds Tommy Freeman, the centre, who was hugging the left touchline this time. He goes into the Australian half. The ball is loose, knocked on by Underhill. McWright's got it. This is where Australia really should look to play, because England's defence could be a bit broken. McWright hurls it out to Jorgensen, who will dribble it down the touchline. Freeman, nice hands, taps it back to Ford, and now Australia flood that breakdown. They've got a penalty. Well, they're still well in this game, Australia.
This is where they're at the best, Australia, putting pressure on in defence, forcing an error from England, which it just shouldn't have happened. It was a strange pass again from Mitchell, and then they turn it into something, and the ref has been so hot on that off feet, off any sort of kick or breakdown today. He's given penalties a lot.
This is, I mean, the bench coming on now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 England players coming on. I'll give you a moment just to collate your information there, Jonesy. It feels to me, actually, a little bit that Australia are so bad that England can't play well against someone who's playing so bad. You know what I mean? Though? I know I've not described myself very well there, but England have found themselves in positions where it's like, well, this doesn't happen.
But it's Australia who have the line out in English territory, and Pollard's on the money. Now Gordon out in the back line. Paisami almost got through. Ford just got him. But Australia only 10-12 metres out. That's good. Valentini to Wilson. Now they come alive, the Wallabies. The ball's gone loose, but backwards. Pollard has it, and they work the short side. That's over in the corner where Jorgensen scored this time last year. They're only 3 behind. with half an hour to go on Sports Extra, live from the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. Pollock is on. I'll run you through those replacements, but it's a whole new front row, as well as two flankers in Pollock and Curry. And it looks like one of them has got in there to steal that ball. Great turnover from England. It may well have been Tom Curry who's coming up off the turf. And England will have the penalty, but they almost got through there as Valentini and Wilson worked it nicely. Pollard then picked up and tidied up, but the sting was taken out of the Wallaby attack. England win the penalty at the breakdown, and Ford thumps it up to and into the Australian half. It's bang on halfway, actually. England 10, Australia 7. 52 minutes gone on 5 Sports Extra.
Yeah, I'm just sort of trying to run through what I meant earlier about, you know, Australia being so bad and England sort of dropping their level accordingly. England just need to be really simple, get through the basics of their own set piece, which they've just won, and then what are they good at? What's their reps and their sets? This I'm not a fan of right now.
Well, it's dependent on the kick being good, and I think.
Well, but regardless of that, Chris, it's giving. It's like all this time, all this dead time is great for Australia. Australia could be in disarray if you're just going through a few phases to break them down.
I'm interested because we're getting to the halfway, and our only solution right now is to kick it back. When I don't understand. Where's this positivity we came from Argentina, away from Argentina with all this attacking rugby and scoring good tries, when every time we're getting to the halfway, with the backness that we've got in this back line, we aren't even looking to use them.
Well, England won the
but we've had our whinge now. We've had our whinge now, Chris.
England won the penalty from the maul, and Ford has kicked it up to 22. Luke Cowan-Dickey's on at hooker. Ellis Genge, Will Stewart, Henry Pollock, Tom Curry, the 5 replacement. England win the line-out ball. Can they try and get their second score? They've not scored a point in a while. Not in the second half. As Pollock, that's good from Henry Pollock. Only his second cap, made his debut in March. Then was off with the Lions. And then on the short side, Curry and Chesham don't quite get on the same page. The ball goes out of play. Australia have the line out inside their own 22.
I'd actually be bringing Ben Spencer on here as well. I think this is an opportunity. I mean, Alex Mitchell's a lovely player. Hasn't just quite clicked today.
And thin too.
Yeah. Just it needs a different view from a couple of decision makers that have watched the game and said, what are we doing that for? Maybe we should be doing that. Get on the field and implement those ideas that you're seeing outside of the pressure cooker of the pitch.
Well, Tom Harrison and Kevin Sinfield, who are both on the touchline, the assistant coaches, they both put their thumbs up back to the coaching box, so maybe a message just got on to that effect. England spoil the line out. Australia are in trouble. No. It's going to be a 5-metre scrum. Oh, it was knocked on by England.
I think there's a bit of head-on-head as well here.
The referee's call is knock on England, scrum Australia, 5 metres from their own line, but England made a real meal of the Australian ball there, and it could have been curtains for the Wallabies. It's going to be a scrum, unless there's anything coming in from the TMO. It's just going to be a scrum Australia 5-metre line.
I think it was a finger to the eye.
Give us a bit more information there.
Mitchell went to grab the ball off Carter and caught him, scraped him down the face. He's fine. Just typical scrum half play, I think, does. Do you know anything about that?
What sort of generally cheating and mischievousness and then running away as quickly as possible? Yep, know loads about that. Made a career out of it, thank you very much. And there weren't 25 cameras watching you do it, so you could get away with it as well.
Stay on the set, no movement, please.
Well, dusk has set in at Twickenham at 4:30 on the first Saturday in November. England 10, Australia 7, 82,000. It was a bit muted, but now here's that Twickenham roar, imploring the England forwards to go to work at this scrum. Referee not happy.
Now quick reset. Let's go.
Big moment you feel here. Another England score could break the Wallaby spirit, but if Australia stay in this game, then that could really play on any England sort of mental vulnerabilities, because they should be winning this game by a fair bit, shouldn't they?
By a good 10 or 15 points by now. It's definitely one of those defining moments that you see in the game. If England do get a little bit of a nudge on, if Australia are picking the ball up at the base on the retreat, and Curry can get a nice, tough, low, solid tackling on the retreat. Worst case, Australia kick to touch, but it's been dealt with really well by Australia.
Then they lose it. Gordon Federer, and then it's been, I mean, the game's just struggling for rhythm, isn't it? Because every time something happens, there's a knock on, the ball gets lost. It does happen sometimes, the style of these international blocks.
I think Curry's too high.
Goes read forward by 10.
He's far too high into that tackle, Tom Curry. Watch this. Bong, he's too high. It's head on head.
You might be in trouble there, Ashley, if the TMO picks that up. You're dead right. He is upright, isn't he?
Okay, number 2 goal. Let's go. Quick stomp.
I don't think the officials are interested, but that's kind of one that... he is upright, and that they're trying to outlaw that kind of two heads in the same space kind of tackle.
And people watching, listening to this, they're going to be confused. How many years have we had of that, yellow card that goes on report, and now it's just moved on? It's strange for me, really strange. It's an obvious high shoulder tackle.
Australia's scrum, they've edged forward a few metres, and surely they could get rid of it. Yeah, Edmed does kick, and Roebuck is, it's a good kick actually. He's not done much kicking, but that was really decent. I hope that was sufficient praise for you guys, as Edmed's kick takes Australia all the way up to halfway, and they have relieved that pressure as we edge towards the hour mark. England 10, Australia 7.
The longer this goes on, the more you kind of get nervous about Australia nicking it at some point, because to be 3 points behind England really not what the game has suggested for large parts of it, although England haven't managed to take enough chances.
England on halfway, good line-out ball, forward to Genge, the vice-captains combine on halfway. Mitchell then goes to the sky, but his last few have been too long. That again is a bit long, isn't it? So the tactic is entirely dependent on the kicks being well weighted, and the last few have been that little bit too long. Will Wilson, I thought Harry Wilson was going to use that left peg again as he ran it out of his own 22. But Australia seem intent on going through a few phases before clearing their lines. Almost an hour gone at Twickenham. England 10, Australia 7. The Autumn Nations Series live on the BBC, 5 Sports Extra. We've got the Scotland game coming up and the Ireland game in Chicago too, as Stewart gets up to take it well under real pressure, and now Stewart takes it on and up to the halfway line, but Mitchell is again going to the boot. This one is a bit better weighted for Roebuck, and Pollock's up there, and Pollock's got the ricochet, and Henry Pollock is tackled, but he's up and he scores potentially the decisive try. The kicking tactic worked there. Loose ball, the energy off the bench from Henry Pollock. His first try at Twickenham, his third for England. He got a couple in Cardiff, and he's got one now at the home of English rugby.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the first kick in maybe 3 or 4 that he is absolutely nailed, Alex Mitchell. Perfect hang time, and the distance made it very difficult to compete. And then just when Mr. Pollock thought that he was going to be doing some kind of celebration, he got tackled. I think he was maybe having a look at the TV screen there just to show everybody at home how great that bleached hair look is. Got tackled. I mean, thank goodness he held on to that ball. That would have been awkward.
Ford to take the gap to 10. No, he's missed it to the right. England 15, Australia 7. Right on the hour mark, Chris Ashton.
It was Roebuck again that got up and claimed. Really, really well done again from Roebuck. He taps this one back, but the pick-up from Pollock is ridiculous. It's a bouncing ball on his left hand, and he just snatches it. Not quite like John Smith did back in the day for Australia, but it's an incredible pick-up nonetheless. Didn't break stride, full flight. Yeah, they got an ankle tap to him, but it's a lovely bit of skill from Pollock.
So, Australia have got it straight from the kick-off. They have to respond here, the Wallabies. Swali, it's kind of kick pass. It's a good one, actually. And Potter's got it. That went forward, over on the far side, yeah. Forward pass spotted by referee Amshar Kelly. Harry Potter exhales deeply, but it looked clearly forward. And that try from Pollock's taken England to an 8-point lead as we go into the final quarter.
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness England have scored that try, because there's not a chance Australia were going to score with their current tactics. So they're going to have to do something different. You know, they are going to have to be a little bit more wide to wide. I don't know whether it's just really greasy and really slipping, whether they just didn't fancy it, but now they have to, with 20 minutes to go, 8-point lead.
Okay, let's go.
Maybe for the people who just want to be entertained, this game will break out. If you're a purist, maybe a little bit more like myself, where you just want to see a decent England win, I think that was a very important try for England at a good time.
And my thought process is score the try, George Ford kicks the goal, get him off. Get those up. We've got a lion in Finn Smith sat on the bench. Put him on. He needs more than 19 minutes in this game. I can't understand why Steve Borthwick wants to wait any longer before he brings Ben Spencer and Finn Smith on.
Well, it's a thinking, actually, that Mitchell and Ford are in the game. They know what's needed to get England over the line in the final 20.
I get that if we're talking about someone who's going to come on and win the second cap, but we're not, are we? We're on about Finn Smith is going to be the long-term option of English rugby at fly half. I think he deserves more than 18 minutes in this game.
Well, Steve Borthwick deep in conversation with some of his assistants. Those thoughts be whirring through the head coach's head. England won the scrum penalty. They cleared up to halfway. Itoje rose high, taking loads of line-up ball, as is his wont. And England surely have to see this out from here. They coughed up a few leads this time last year at Twickenham against the All Blacks and the Wallabies.
This left edge here is a 6-on-3. We're kicking it.
Mitchell kicks, and England get the bat and it will end up just about an English split. I suppose the typical thing with that, Chris, is that did lead to Pollock's try, that tactic, didn't it? So yes, it's a little bit repetitive and maybe not as creative as other options, but it did yield 7 points. So England will feel like the proof of the pudding's in the eating, as Australia now will feel they've got to do something a little bit more ambitious than what they've offered so far in the opening, on the first 63 minutes of this game. They're looking to attack from their own 22. Paisami, Swali'i, and England are reading that nicely, but then they're a bit early with the tackle, and it's a penalty to Australia. A bit of ill discipline from England will give the Wallabies a chance to go into English territory.
And England just swallowing it up. I mean, it was a bit unlucky there, slightly early tackle, but England just swallowing up that very tepid Australian attack. I mean, it's just nowhere near as slick and as intricate and dynamic as we would expect from a Southern Hemisphere team. And you could just sense there's a frustration of the crowd. There's a bit of disbelief from England. It's a pretty easy afternoon. I mean, how often do you get as an easier afternoon against Australia? I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
I'd be so frustrated if I was Feo Boso. Back here at Twickenham, he hasn't seen the ball. Why have we got him on the wing if we're just going to kick it?
You'd be showing your frustration a bit more, wouldn't you, than Feo Boso?
He's the best runner we've got.
He looks pretty calm. I can see Chris Ashton down there with his arms in the air. 15-7 England. The game is still not done, as Australia go over the top of the line. Out Jeremy Williams
over the 15,
links with Jake Gordon, the 9. There's Gordon again. Ed Med tries to go round. Paisami sticks his head down. That's made a metre or two. Ed Med on the gain line, back to Harry Wilson. Australia in between the 10 and the halfway, but so far today England have eaten up this phase attack quite comfortably. Big tackling going in, then the forwards pile forward. England, they've got 5 fresh forwards on, remember. Harry Potter, one of the try scorers. England have driven them back, what, about 15 metres now through their defence. Tom Robertson, the replacement loose head, is on. They might have to go to the boot now, Australia. Paisami kicks, not much of a chase. That's not great rugby from Australia. As Stewart now counter-attacks, and he's away, Freddie Stewart. Inside to Henry Pollock. Pollock's already got one try. He's off up to the 22. He had meant the left but went right. Penalty Australia. He ran away from support a bit there, Pollock. And Australia cling on. And
holding on.
Pollock's been penalised for holding on. But a good counter from England. Again, snuffed out by the Wallabies on the floor.
I think his supporting players on the left were either shouting his name or maybe an expletive that rhymes with it, because that was a terrible decision. Great try, great finish, but you know, if you want to be world class, you've got to be able to get the ball in space like that and link and support, particularly as a back row. You know, the likes of your Chris Ashton would not have been amused to see your back row die with the ball with a three-man, not overlap, but three-man support.
The first thing I'd have been thinking is, we've got Manny on the left, give him the ball, he will more than likely give it you back at some point when he's beaten 3 defenders.
Oh, Australia might be able to get outside England. Jorgensen, no, he's lost it. And then Stewart's onto it, Freddie Stewart. Good offload. Tommy Freeman, nice skill from the Northampton man. Sends Australia back through Jeremy Williams. Did a few of those. Nick Frost, actually, the other lock. But the pair of locks have a couple of times had to save the day in the backfield for the Wallabies, who are camped on their own line now. Jorgensen had a little sniff of getting outside the English defence. Then the move broke down. Gordon hooks at the touch, but the knowledgeable Twickenham crowd sense that England could put this game to bed now. Line out 20 metres out, they lead 15-7. Another try would surely seal it, as Australia make a couple more changes with Felipe Daugunu and Lucan Salakaia-Loto, as well as Ryan Lonergan, all coming on to the field. Chris Ashton.
Yeah, Australia just surviving again, putting themselves under pressure, overplaying, constant in the wrong areas, not really knowing who's doing what role. They can't even sort the subs bench on. Replacements are running off and someone's running back on. They're a bit all over the place for Australia. I think England now, last 10 minutes, I think we've got to just show how much better we should have been all game, really. A couple of tries here. Just shove it out to near 30 points, just makes the whole day feel a bit better.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, look, a win's a win, and if England get it done, they'll take that. Steve Borthwick will take it at the start of the block. But they've got to make sure they get over the line as Cowan-Dickie throws to the tail. Nicely done. Cowan-Dickie to Maro Itoje. 22 for England. A maul. Heave is the cry from the home support. 15-7 England lead. 12 and a half minutes left on Sports Extra. England maul just starting to edge very steadily, but slowly. And now with a little bit more intensity, that ball is still going forward. Penalty advantage England. They can kill off Australia here. Options right and left. Mitchell goes to the right, finds George Ford, shapes the kick, then kicks. No one chases it. Back for the penalty. And do you just kick the goal here? 18-7. Or do you scrum, line out? What are you doing? If you're out there captaining England, Matt Dawson.
I would be tempted to take the 3 and just regroup, because what have Australia got? Yeah, you move it to 11 points, and from then on you go into the corners, and Australia are just desperate to, are just so disjointed and uncoordinated. I mean, it looks like Fordy's going to go into the corner, and I get it. I'm relatively ambivalent about that decision because of the dominance of a, let's say, average England performance, and a woeful, regardless of the result, a woeful performance from Australia.
Ford stabs it to within 5. One of the line out. Chesham again. Heave is the cry from the crowd. 15-7. England looking for their 3rd try. They peel to the right. They're up to the line. They've lost it forward. They've knocked it on. Oh, look like they were walking it in. Just one of those days for both sides when Luke Cowan-Dickie, he splintered off, and then, McWright got in there.
He's had a good game, hasn't he, McWright?
Well, he's a good old Aussie back row spoiler, isn't he? And he's saved Australia there because Cowan-Dickie, he always felt that he saw the line and saw Twickenham try, here we come.
It was just that tiny split second of under his right arm looking up in the maul or breakout maul, saw the line, has changed his body position to ever so slightly shift his right arm to think I'm going in for the try, and in that moment Moraes just battered the ball out of Cowan-Dickie's arm when it's just not quite as tight as it should be in the grip.
Scrum Australia over on the far touchline, solid scrum from both sides as the Wallabies set it up. Oh, Paisami, was he crawling there? Yes, he was crawling. Penalty England. It's tapped by Mitchell, but the ref's not happy. And you feel that sort of frustration is everywhere now, players and supporters. And referee Amish Kelly saying to Alex Mitchell, you can't tap it there because there's nowhere near the mark. But Paisami, that's kind of pretty basic, isn't it? It's a one-out carry, set the ball up, and he goes crawling on the floor and gives a penalty away. Ford kicks it to the corner into the final 10. England 15, Australia 7.
Yeah, and I'm still staring at George Ford and Alex Mitchell going through 71 minutes in, grueling wet weather conditions.
What does this say for next week too, Dos?
Well, I think it says they're probably going to rest them.
Line out is won by Guy Pepper getting up there. Again, they want to heed the Twickenham crowd. This time, surely Luke Cowan-Dickie isn't going to get his pocket picked. Australia through... Oh, well, that's going to be a penalty as Mitchell dances down the right. Alex Mitchell scores, and that surely will be it for England. Salakai Lotto got in there to bat it out of Mitchell's hands, but Mitchell got up, scampered down the short side, and scored for England. His fifth try for his country. England out to 20 points to 7, and that's surely job done for Steve Borthwick's men.
Yeah, Alex Mitchell just got the ball slapped out of his hands as he was going to distribute, but it bounced up beautifully for him to put on a bit of footwork round the short side. I'm not totally convinced that he's managed to ground it, and whether the referee will have a look.
It's on the line.
He's done very well, hasn't he? Very well, just on the goal line, on the whitewash. And Alex Mitchell shows a little bit of magic, which will be his last intervention in this game.
Here is Ford. That goes across the face of the post. But 20 points to 7, Australia have to score 2 converted tries. And given their only points have come from a 90-metre intercept, that's pretty fanciful.
But this decision here for Mitchell was almost forced, which is not what I want to see. He was forced down a short side. He didn't choose to go down there because the ball was slapped out of his hand. He decided to then take a guy on one-on-one and beat him, surprisingly. Just play your natural game. Don't play through a system. Mitchell at Saints takes that on all day, every day, and normally scores anyway. I'd just like to see a bit more confidence in them and how they're attacking.
England have changed the half-backs, as noted by Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton, as Tom Curry absolutely melts. Is that Edmed on the floor? Yeah, it is. Oh, that was the Tom Curry of the summer for the Lions, just cutting people to bits. And Australia still have it, but yeah, they're not going to go from here, are they? And then was that Alan Alatoa kick? It's out on the full either way. No, it was kicked forward, and then it was Dalguna who kicked it. And yeah, it's just been a ragged performance from the Wallabies, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think I've probably got to just stop bagging the Aussies at the moment. We've just done the bit. We've established that this is not a great performance from them, and actually it's England who have shown a little bit more pragmatism. It's been by no means a perfect performance, but they've just dominated Australia, particularly in defence.
Freddie Stewart's just dislocated his finger collecting that ball that went out on the full. He's in real pain. They think he's going inside.
Well, England win the line out. Cowan-Dickie to Itoje. Good England maul. They've got another chance to put some proper gloss on this scoreline. What a maul this is from England. Oh, they're marching up to the line. It's a 30-metre maul. Everyone's involved now. Cowan-Dickie at the back. Can they go the final metre? Yes, they can. What a flex from the England forwards. They've gone 20-odd metres with that maul. And now the scoreline has the kind of polish that the golf in the teams merited. Luke Cowan-Dickie's got his try. England 25, Australia 7.
And taking into consideration how lethargic we thought that Australia were in the first 75 minutes, I don't know what's going to spark them up in the next 5. And you've got 2 decision makers coming on the field thinking, yeah, we'll have some of this. You've got 6 Lions coming off the bench thinking, yeah, we'll have some of this. Finn Smith will be getting a shift on here with this kick and say, come on, let's have 3 or 4 minutes and a couple more tries.
Yeah, that's definitely worth noting. Nice spot, actually. Luke Cowan-Dickie, been a journey to get there. He's got his 50th cap. He's got a try on his 50th. And a memorable one as well. That was an England pack of your vintage, Dorse, going 20, 25 metres and then plopping over the line. England 25, Australia 7. Smith couldn't kick the goal. And with 4 minutes left, there's only one team winning this. As England take the restart, and now Ben Spencer is asking his forwards to carry to the left, and they oblige through Will Stewart.
I think they've only got 14, England, as well. Freddie Stewart's gone off to get his finger sorted. I don't think they've put anyone else back on.
It's your player.
Yeah, well, at the moment it looks like
he digs the ball.
Tommy Freeman's gone to full-back. And George Ford's kind of in the midfield. Knocked on by Australia. Cowan-Dickie gets to it, finds Freeman, he kicks. Is that off the side of the boot? It is. So no advantage. It will be a scrum to England from that Australia knock-on.
And England will look forward to this. Right in the centre of the park. I mean, it's throwing it down with rain. I think we've really underestimated how miserable the conditions are with trying to play this expansive game all the time. That will definitely have something to do with the amount of kicks that have gone up from England. I know that's not necessarily going to keep everybody happy, but it is about winning the game and winning the game well. And at 25-7, this is much more like the scoreline the bookies and a few people were expecting.
Yeah, I've got to admit, Dorse, I thought this would be a lot tighter. Didn't expect Australia to not show up, but fair play England, they've got the job done, albeit in a game that's been tough to love at times.
And they've got a tough few games to come, Australia as well. Can you imagine?
You've got to go to Dublin,
coming up north, starting at Twickenham and putting this type of performance together. All of a sudden, this is a long, long month ahead.
Yeah, they've got Italy, then they've got Ireland, and then they've got France in the Stade at the end of the month. Yeah, that wouldn't. If they play like this in Paris, then it could be messy. Right. England scrum, centre field. England 25, Australia 7, with just over 2 minutes left. As Ben Spencer prepares to feed, but he's not allowed because Nick Amishikeli gives a penalty against England and to Australia. And the game, which is over as a contest, just started to peter out. And I'm sure some of these fans are thinking of the next bar or the long road home, as the kick is sliced by Hamish Stewart, which kind of sums it up a bit for the Wallabies.
What are we going to talk about in the pod?
We'll find something, I'm sure. I'll go and speak to Steve Borthwick and some of the England players, get their take on it. We can hear from them. If you've got nothing to say, Matt, we'll speak to the players.
I've always got a little bit to say, don't you worry.
Of course you do, of course you do.
Man, Australia.
England have turned this ball over.
Well, I mean, they didn't turn it over. Australia just threw it into their own knees.
As Spencer just pops it out to Alex Coles. Minute and 20 left at Twickenham. England 25, Australia 7.
Come on, Manny. Get up for that.
As Chris Ashton urges ref Feyenoord Boso on, who kind of ran into Filippo Dalgunu.
He didn't. He was pushed by Dalgunu.
Well, it's who's got it now? Oh, it's another penalty. Yeah, the game's been a scrappy one, hasn't it? And that was a kind of typical bit of play we've seen today. Ball up, knocking around, penalty, and Australia had the penalty as England are offside, and they kick it. Good kick this time from Hamish Stewart in between the 22 and the 10. Final minute, England 25, Australia 7.
I can't tell you how much of a smile I had on my face this morning when I opened my eyes and looked out the window and saw the beautiful clear blue sky, not a breath of wind, thinking what a day to have an England-Australia game at Twickenham. I'm deflated.
Well, from an England point of view, 25-7, not to be sniffed at.
No, of course, but you know what I mean.
But yeah, Spencer's onto this as the move broke down. Will that be the end of it with a few seconds to go? No, there's going to be a scrum. You kind of wondered if Nick Amishikeli, as the rain pours down, was thinking, let's call it. As Alatoa and Genge. Not seen much of that today, have we? That kind of fire. As Alatoa and Genge exchange words. Rain is really teeming down now. And I wonder what England will do from this scrum. The game is won. They've got a busy month. Do they keep playing, or do they say, look, let's get in the baths? And
it's going off. It's going off.
Oh, now it's properly kicking off. Joseph Akusa Swali is thrown to the floor by somebody. Tommy Freeman's in the thick of it. He's got
Genge's gone back.
Five wallabies around him. Something's been said, you feel, because Genge and Alatoa are really going for each other. Now Genge and Lukan Salakaia-Loto are head-to-head. Still squaring up.
Australia need to get on the bus. Go home, lads. You've had a bad day at the office.
Penalty Australia after all that. I think Genge has been singled out. Swing low, sweet chariot.
17 starting the scuffle.
Well, sung with gusto by the Twickenham fans after a protracted period of scuffling. Australia will end this game, you feel, in England's 22 as Stuart prods it down the line.
Well, at least we've now found you a question to ask some of the England players in the tunnel. Just what was
that all about?
What was all that about?
Yeah, for sure.
I expect a full report and in-depth
forensic question. Don't take no for an answer. Not taking no for an answer. Aussie line out then.
I think England have just got to forget what's happened there. Just finish this game as strong as they can here.
Yeah, they don't want it, because look, if they don't concede here, England, their defence has been great, because the only try they would have conceded would have been an intercept, when they were about to score anyway. It's a penalty advantage to Australia, who almost get through their replacement Stewart, 6-7 metres out. Still advantage being played to Australia.
No advantage.
And I think England it'd be a big feather in the sort of Richard Wigglesworth cap as the new defence coach if they can keep Australia at bay. They pick and go, the Wallabies up to the line, couldn't be much closer. Inches short, the men in goal. They pick and go, then there's been knocked forward, surely. No, the referee's got a penalty, or his arm out against England. Harry Wilson, then he throws up. He's got another penalty as referee Amishikeli after the ball was thrown out by Wilson. Someone's going to the bin. Henry Pollock's going to the bin.
I've not enjoyed Nika today, I'll be honest. He's really messed around in this game. He's not got any flow into it whatsoever.
Australian tap and go, just up to the line. Ball, they pick and go again on the right. This has been their best source of go forward. Have England held that up? They think they have, England? Yes, they have. And that's a big moment for England. Itoje, the captain's got his hands in the air. Pollock barely had time to leave the field before dancing back on again to celebrate. 2 arms aloft for Maro Itoje. England win against Australia by 25 points to 7. It was comfortable in the end. Australia didn't offer much. England did what they needed to do. And from an England point of view, something we can discuss on the Rugby Union Weekly later on. Matt Dawson is foundations laid, now a chance to go through the gears over the coming weeks.
Absolutely right, Chris. I think foundations is where it's at. Never an easy game. First up in the autumn, been a big break, big step up from the Prem, your week-to-week club rugby. And England looked really comfortable. Defensively set the tone. I think the conditions probably had a huge amount to do with how England were attacking. And yes, they missed out on a few opportunities, but Australia were woeful. I mean, we've all commented on it for 80-odd minutes. They were dreadful. Probably the worst I've seen. I think that's the worst Australian team that I've seen ever. What, you gonna, go on, I mean, go on. Give me a team that has been ever. Go on.
Yeah, it was abysmal, Australia. I can't get my head around it. They've had all this time together. They looked worse than a Barbarians team. I bet the Barbarians this afternoon under Pat Lam have had more of the togetherness than what Australia just have out here. No, I don't want to take anything away from England because the defence was solid. A lot of the times and occasions during the Lions, Australia got go forward, maybe a missed tackle or just a half shoulder, getting him a bit of momentum. That wasn't the case today. England absolutely banged them back in defence every single time they were asked. But they have to throw more than that. I was a little bit disappointed that England didn't just push the boat out a bit more in attack, especially when the game was at 15-7. Yes, the conditions are bad, but I'd just like to... We're not going to beat New Zealand playing that kind of rugby. So once you knew it was 15-7, the game was kind of done. You've got to look to next week. You've got to... what we're going to do now at 9 and 10, because Ben Spencer and Finn Smith has played 10 minutes in this game. Are we going into the same with the same 23 as what we've seen today? Looks likely.
Right, that's where we're going to end our coverage on 5 Sports Extra. I'm going to run down and speak to Steve Borthwick and some of the England players, and we'll have loads more reaction on the Rugby Union Weekly podcast, which, if we play our cards right and producer Adam's on form, we'll have out for you in the next few hours. There is commentary, though, coming up of 2 big games involving the home nation. Scotland against USA. Come back to Sports Extra in around 20-25 minutes for coverage from our team at BBC Radio Scotland. That will roll straight in to Ireland against New Zealand. So don't go anywhere between the Scotland and the Ireland games for all of your Autumn Nation Series coverage. But check out the Rugby Union Weekly podcast for more reaction from Twickenham. We'll hear from Steve Borthwick and the England players. But for now, it's good night. England 25, Australia 7.